Hello, everybody. We are live.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
I had a crisis of priorities because I went to post that we're live in the Troublemaker server, and I saw somebody post their that they posted their Writeathon vlog, and I was like, "What do I add that to playlist now? Do I?" And then I'm like, "No, we're doing a
No.
live.
We're doing a live.
It will be there."
After the
You
live,
can
you're not
wait.
allowed to do it.
What? Yes, I am. You said tomorrow.
You did say tomorrow.
Okay. Were you there, Cody?
I saw the post.
It was in the announcements in the
I read it. I was like the first one to react to it.
But
Were
no, he was not
you
in the
read
chat
it?
you're referring to.
No.
The one where we made a pact.
This is where we made a deal. A blood oath.
A pinky swear
No pinky swear.
to Fox that we would not work after today for a week. We have to take a week off.
And then he threatened us with list. And we were like,
Oh.
sir, this is the opposite of what we needed.
Right.
I like how Fox is like, you either take a break or we give you more work.
That's it.
Fox just yelled at me. He's like, you also don't have to add it if they put it in a different server. And I'm like, but I saw it. Hello, hi everybody. Y'all didn't come here to listen about my existential organization crisis. It's fine. Or did you? Actually, this is my audience. Y'all know me.
Have,
I was gonna say.
I haven't seen it. Well, this is very spoilery. So yes, if you haven't seen it, if you're in America, I don't know if it's anywhere else, but if you're in America, you can watch Lost Boys on Netflix until the 30th. They're taking it away.
31st.
Those sons of bitches.
Because I was like, where do I find the Lost Boys today? And I'm like, it's on Netflix.
Hi. But I think I figured out why, because while I was looking for pictures for the vampire makeup, the vampire special effects, same thing, I saw an article that said that they're going forward with a Lost Boys movie after the CW pilot failed. And I was like, excuse, what? So apparently they're making a new Lost Boys movie. They're rebooting it. They wanted the TV series to be about a mom moving to the coastal city and her like Gen Z kids. And I was like, I'm so intrigued because like 60% of the reason the Lost Boys is good is because it was 80s. So intrigued as to how that would translate.
They did a reboot in 2008 also because they did the Lost Boys, something about frog.
No, that wasn't a reboot. Those are the sequels that I still haven't seen. But the Frog Brothers did go on to become vampire hunters from my understanding. Yes. And that's what the second and third movie's about.
Yep.
That actually said that
it's a standalone sequel.
They changed their mind. Like they originally started out with it trying to be a sequel, but the way that it was recepted, they changed their mind and decided that it was a soft reboot.
I
So
don't know.
Okay. So it's a soft reboot based on reviews, not based on purpose.
Yeah, okay, that explains things. But we'll get to that later. We gotta talk about the actual movie.
We gotta talk about the OG now.
Hello, hi. Oh, I already did those ones. I've been decluttering for several hours, but I'm beginning to lose steam. Well, you sit back, relax, enjoy.
Listen to our dulcet tones.
Talking Lost Boys. Yes, Lost Boys, the 80s vampire movie. Not a Peter Pan film.
Let's put it this way. I didn't know it was considered a comedy until I looked up Wikipedia.
Oh yeah, it's a comedy horror.
Yes.
I did not know. I will say I did laugh, but I did not know it was meant to be a comedy.
Yeah, it's okay. So I often get into disputes with other horror fans because they'll be like, "Well, the point of horror is that you're trying to scare people," and I'm like, "That's not true. The purpose of horror is to make you feel specific emotions, often uncomfortable emotions. Like the base point of horror is to make you feel that something is off. If you feel something is off or strange or unusual, horror has done its job. You don't have to feel terrified. You just have to feel mildly uncomfortable." And one of my biggest things is I'm like horror comedy is a crossover genre where like they're not trying to scare. No horror comedy is genuinely trying to terrify you. And then often people will be like, "Well, but that's comedy, not horror." And I'm like, it's both. You can't dismiss it just because it doesn't fit what you want. So yeah, that's That's one of the things. I can't wait till I do my genre video on horror. You did not see. What did I not see? Look at these new names. Yes, Fox, your life is a horror. What new names?
Wow, dang.
Oh, okay. I see what Fox is saying. Don't blame me for what you asked for. I'm out before the spoilers come. Right, see you. Have a good day. Sadly, it wasn't on the Canadian. Yeah, one of my friends in Australia was like so stoked because she's like, "Oh, I can watch it before the stream," and then Australian Netflix doesn't have it. That's why I specified US Netflix, because I believe they're pulling it from all of the streaming services because they're going to have a new movie, so they want people's money. Because that's what they normally do.
So I have a VPN, and I didn't realize it had me out of the country because it automatically hooks up. So I was like, Lost Boys, because I knew it was on Netflix. Because I like started it before for like half. So I'm like, perfect, Netflix. It said, not available in your country. I'm like, what do you mean it's not available in my country? I just looked it up 2 days ago. I was like, VPN? Where am I? I just said I was somewhere else.
But I'm glad your parents have it. There's sometimes when we pick these movies, I don't necessarily think about how anybody else will watch them. And Chris and I own the Blu-ray of it because it's one of our fave movies to watch together. I haven't seen it, but I never will, so I don't care. That's fair. Sometimes people come to these Let's Talks having never seen the movie or what I'm talking about, and then they go do it. All that 80s goodness. That reminds me, I was going to do a poll. Hold up.
Oh. I will say, I did enjoy how 80s it was.
I love 80s movies.
I was feeling nostalgic for an era I never lived in. That's how I felt. I was like, I feel really nostalgic, but I'm born in 94. This is not my era.
I mean, I was born in the 80s, but I was born in 87. So, like, the 90s is my era.
Yeah. I was born in the 90s, and a lot of people like to, like, the way people talk is that, like, once you hit that zero, like, the 80s are all the 80s, the 90s are all the... No, it's actually, like, the first half of a decade is influenced by the previous decade. It's just, like, most people born then don't have cognizant memory of it. But, like, yeah, the 80s were still influential until the mid-90s, and then you get 90s culture.
Yeah. 90s were still influential until the like early 2000s, etc.
Most of my ghost story novels aren't scary, just more off-putting. Yeah, because that's all. It's the uncanny valley, really. That's the initial goal of horror, and then once you start getting into other things, you get subgenres. But that's a discussion for a different Let's Talk. Hello, Lost Boys has been... Yes, it's so good. All right. So I put up a poll to see how many people here have seen the movie versus how many people have not. I'm really ready to get into it, but I'm like, I must wait for the 10 minutes and then make these two do their intros.
Yes.
I will say that I shall correct myself.
Yes.
It was not the Lost Boys, the Reign of Frogs, whatever it is. It was the Lost Boys, the Tribe, that was in 2008. Oh. That was... it was... What is the exact wordage it used? Who knows? Not me.
Wikipedia?
Was intended to be a remake of the original set in modern day, and Corey Feldman was just supposed to make an appearance.
Well,
but they used the same last name for the siblings. Because in the newer one, it's a brother and sister.
Because then the one that was in 2010 is Lost Boys: The Thirst.
Yeah,
it's real.
Well, maybe if anybody wants to, we'll watch some more Lost Boys movies. I haven't seen any of the other ones.
Me either. Watch Party. Oh my god.
The Tribe one stars Donald Sutherland's other son.
The other Sutherland.
Well, because Kiefer Sutherland was in Lost Boys, and then his other son, what is his name? Angus, who was 4 when the Lost Boys was shot, is in the 2008 version is the main character, like the main vampire character.
Gotcha. All right, we are 10 minutes in. So excited for dinner. Beef, corn on the cob. Tasty. All right,
Sounds delicious.
go ahead and do your intros so we can dive into The Lost Boys.
So we can go to Laura's house and have dinner.
Yes.
Hello, friends. I am Jessica Williamson, aka a mess, because I am one. I have a YouTube channel. I post reading, writing, book, and planner related content every once in a while, and do live streams with writing sprints, productivity sprints, more likely every other Friday. So if you like my face and you want to come hang out, you can find me linked down below.
Hello, hi everybody. My name is Cody Keller. I am a gay creator. Like to make gay shit. Street people have had too good for too long. I am the resident Sparkle King. Cannot get rid of me, like litter. I am a multi-genre writer. I'm just viewing myself as X. I have 6 genres of whips right now. It's fine. I don't have a problem. You have a problem. I don't have a problem. Currently working on my debut novel, which is about witches and werewolves and shit. Follow me down below. We'll be going on an adventure.
And I am Writing Mom Samantha Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. Sometimes I do write-ins where we are productive and social on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Other times I do Let's Talks like this, where we talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. And still, even other times, like next week, we're going to be having a party to celebrate the end of a quarter because I like to do quarterly goals, and that's how we celebrate. Cody will be there.
Hello. I hope y'all like my face. You can't get rid of me.
And I'll most likely be in the chat.
When I post... Oh, sorry, I'm bumping everything. When I post content, I do it on Thursdays. However, that's really slow right now because I'm on a hiatus that I'm slowly getting away from more and more. The more I'm on the... Sorry, the dinner train is chugging through my house real quick. So... Yes, I'm slowly getting back to doing everything, so I hope to have content again someday. And it will be posted on Thursday, including some very, very, very late dubba vlogs. If you would like to read a sample of my writing, you can go to my website, samanthaalnasset.com, and read my spooky flash fiction, Until Pizza Do Us Part. I will be adding 2 more stories to the website, hopefully within the next year or so. They're ready for sensitivity reader and editor, respectfully. So very excited about that. You can also sign up to my newsletter to stay up to date with all things Sam and be one of the first to get to read those when they do get posted on the website. Woo. If you would like to support us, you can like this channel, subscribe, or you can like the stream, subscribe to the channel, ring-a-ding that bell, and if you just want to tip, donate, or whatever, there's a Ko-fi down below.
Give Sam money.
And as a special additional announcement, we just finished our worldwide Writeathon weekend this weekend, the first one this year, and the channel is getting very close to 500 subscribers. So if you like write-a-thons and participating in community events, you should go subscribe to that. I need the community tab.
We want the community tab so bad.
Yes.
Very.
Let's catch back up. I have enough food for 4, and there's only 1 of me. Please come over. Yes,
done.
There's 3 of us.
Oh my God.
It's perfect.
Witches and werewolf poop. Is it good for fertilizing the supernatural fields? Let me tell you. We can discuss that. Not today, but on a different day.
On a different day, we'll go through it.
That's how they grow the magical flower in Tangled. Hey, all just got here. Not yet. We're about to start. Still want watch and talk. Or let's talk Jaws.
No.
Just
I down for it. Mainly because I always confuse Jaws with that other shark movie, because I don't know that I've ever seen Jaws, but I've seen the shark movie with Ice Cube and his parrot, and that is like the only shark movie. Whenever somebody brings up a shark movie, I think it's that one. Deep Blue Sea. I just hear Chris yelling from the other side. He's so used to he'll start talking to me about Jaws, and I'll be like, yeah, and then I'll bring up certain things, and he's like, you're thinking of Deep Blue Sea again.
The Then why do you keep talking to me about Jaws? Jesus.
Yes, baby, you
Take
can
a
have a drink.
hint.
Right,
Take
so-
a hint.
Oh, that was
Take a
LL Cool
hint.
J. Thank you.
Ladies love Cool J.
Cool James, actually.
There's so many cold names.
I'm fully aware of his full name. There's a story behind that I'm not going to get into right now. But anywho, does not involve vampires from the 80s.
Okay, so as a small summary or recap for those who have not seen the movie, sorry, I got distracted by my husband. I'm waiting for him to stop discussing with our son because every time he slightly raises his voice, I just tune into it. But all right, so The Lost Boys is a comedy horror that was made in the 80s and takes place in the 80s. It's about this mom who just recently went through a divorce. She and her well, it's not about the mom, but this mom went through a divorce. She's going back home to live with her dad, and she's bringing her two sons, Michael and Sam, which is really funny because I'm Sam and I have a son named Michael. And they're moving from Phoenix, Arizona, and they have to adjust to this seaside city of Santa Carla in, I presume, California. I don't remember if they actually confirmed that it's California or not.
Where I presumed.
But yes. And then, like, all throughout it, you get foreshadowing that, like, there's this vampire motorbike gang that the oldest son gets involved with, and they slowly try to turn him into a vampire. And then the younger son gets involved with vampire hunters, and basically they work together to save his brother from vampire hunters. That's what they are. All the meanwhile, we have the grandpa in the background who I need his movie. I need to know, because like he's like watching a lot of this unfold, and he's just like, you see him give looks and stuff. There's a scene where he's just casually building his fence, and his fence is just giant wooden stakes, and you're like, sir, why do you need a fence of giant wood stakes?
I have a theory.
It's fake Santa Cruz.
I'll tell you later.
But it is in California. I just looked it up on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good movie. It's almost 2 hours long, and it really doesn't feel it. So much happens. Also, the cinematography and everything is so good. I love how they use music, and because they'll like show you a bunch of like a time lapse basically, and they'll do it with music, and it's just so good.
We vaguely touched on it the other night when we were not supposed to be talking about it. But Kiefer Sutherland actually did not want to do the movie until he heard who was doing the soundtrack and agreed to do the movie based off of the soundtrack alone.
And I can respect that.
That's insane. I mean, that's a ballsy move right there.
Also, there's a very hunky, shirtless man playing saxophone.
We'll get there. It's okay.
I know we will, but
the very first talking point is, I lied. It was a Peter Pan movie. For those who don't know, this entire weekend, I have been telling people in a mildly offended tone that this is a 80s vampire movie. It's not a Peter Pan movie. However, it is a giant Peter Pan-esque allegory. Max, the head vampire, is trying to court the boy's mom because he feels his gang of motorbike vampire boys needs a mother, and he's very like obsessed with her being a kind and thoughtful mother. So he's like, yes, I must have her for my children, and therefore she's Wendy. And then her sons are the two boys that they're trying to get to join the Lost Boys. And I mean, the Lost Boys. They're the Lost Boys. So yes, I lied. I'm sorry. I didn't think about it until I was watching it this time.
I can feel Fox's vindication from over here. From across the country.
because he used a hook gif, and that's a whole other thing. So my first question to y'all and the audience, I don't know, forget a mother. I'd rather just have start. Blake, you may not like my opinions on Star.
But do you though?
Can't believe it's the same guy who made Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
It's true.
As a person who has a teenager when that movie came out, that soundtrack was the hottest thing that year. Wasn't one? Yes, Michael and John were Wendy's brothers. Now that you mentioned that. Except Michael was the younger one, wasn't he?
Google.
I think so. Yeah.
But yes, so what did y'all think of the movie and did you enjoy it?
I did. I watched it twice. I watched it not this weekend, obviously, but the weekend prior, and then watched it again today and made notes. I squeezed it in between work and live streaming. But yeah, I liked it. I would definitely watch it again. Like if Netflix, ever brings it back.
Damn that Netflix.
Netflix.
It's on. If anybody uses Vudu for your digital media, it's on sale right now for $10.
I enjoyed it. I fully enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Like I said, I felt nostalgic for an era I never lived in.
The hair, though.
Listen, I love Sam's hair. I loved it. I currently have a mullet, so
I have such a
biased.
I have a love-hate relationship because I feel like some of those actors really pulled off their mullets well, and then other actors, why did they do that to them? So
there was one,
and the guy with like just the black blowout, I'm like, he said no.
He said that.
He did the costuming, and he was like, no, we are not doing that to my head.
Dwayne said, no, we'll leave my hair like this.
And then I think there was one vampire guy who was like super short on top and it was curly, and then it was like super long in the back. Like, whoa, buddy.
He's got that hair. To me, I think that on like anybody else I'd hate, but I don't know. He was so adorable and so cute, and he was like clearly the youngest of them.
Yeah.
So I think it fit into his charm. Was it an attractive hairstyle? Not at all, but it was adorable
a very
on him.
Creepy looking guy. Like if I seen that guy on the road, I would be like, maybe not.
If I saw several of them on the road,
I was gonna say if I saw any of them,
their acting was pretty good.
Yeah, if I saw any of them on the road, I'd be like, I'm still going.
I don't know. She did her job at looking pretty very well.
I will agree.
Do stupid things for a pretty girl. That's fair. I enjoyed it. It was great. Reminded me of the type of dumb films my family and I would watch. I think it's considered an occult classic. Like critically, when it came out, Chris might be able to correct me on this, but critically when it came out, like people didn't like it, but then over time they're like, wait a sec, this is actually a really good film. So I think the cinematography and everything was like really well. The soundtrack, I just love the production of it.
I just like it. I thought it was a good movie.
You could probably DVD dive at Walmart for Lost Boys for $5.
Probably.
Michael's hair, I would take it easily. Yes, his hair is so good.
Michael and Sam are pretty normal. It's
in my
Marco,
notes,
Paul, Dwayne, and David.
In my notes, I very heavily refer to them as the Mullet Gang, like almost exclusively.
The Mullet Gang.
One of the vampires.
$32 million at the box office in '87.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The vampire faces gave me Buffy vibes. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the like makeup and stuff. I think if I remember correctly, I actually have an article. I haven't read it yet, but it's in my Let's Talk board about the makeup that I will share with everybody, like a behind the scenes. And it said pioneering a new breed of vampires. So I think Lost Boys might have been, because Buffy was 90s, right?
Yes,
so.
It was prior to the Buffy movie and the Buffy TV show, definitely.
So they probably took inspiration from Lost Boys.
Yes, they said that the special effects supervisor from the Lost Boys wanted to be more, wanted things to be like less subtle, more like, and the director was like, no, I want it more subtle. And so the Buffy version is just like a more amped up version of the Lost Boys version. It's also where we get the term vamp out from. like when in Buffy they say that somebody vamped out quite a lot, whereas in this it's like said one time and it becomes just like a normal thing. Also, Donald Sutherland is in Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. Just throwing that
Just
out
throwing
there.
that out.
I mean, Donald Sutherland, Kiefer Sutherland, that other Sutherland kid.
It's fine. You reminded me there was a picture that I had wanted to find earlier, and I had not found it, so I was finding it real quick.
It's okay. I can talk Buffy and the Lost Boys correlations while you look for things.
Yes, do that.
And I'll sit here and yawn, even though I just had a full thing of coffee.
Did you know that like the main villain from the first episode or the first season of Buffy lives in a church that fell underground during an earthquake, and in the Lost Boys they live in a hotel that fell underground during the California earthquake.
Lost Boys was a reimagining of vampires for the time that pioneered vampire trends into the 90s and 80s, which is probably why 90s vampires wore so much leather.
Yes.
I didn't watch it when it first came out. Neither did I. I wasn't born.
I was born, but barely.
I wasn't
just less than a year old, sitting in front of the TV. But when I met my best friend Jamie, I watched it with her and I loved it. Before meeting her, I hadn't watched many horror movies because I was scared yet. That's fair.
I'm also realizing there's a lot of foreshadowing in the early beginnings.
So much foreshadowing.
A lot.
And like as I'm thinking about it now, just casually, like there's a lot of foreshadowing to the fate of Michael.
Much. Vampires and leather, thinking of the Underworld series. Also just pretty vampire ladies. Yes. So my next question is, who's everybody's favorite character?
Grandpa.
I was gonna say this easy, Grandpa.
The grandpa gets less screen time than anybody else. But he's my favorite. I need to know all the things about his life.
What got me was the old fart shelf.
Wait, was the what?
Old fart shelf in his fridge.
Fart? Oh, okay.
He has an old fart shelf in his fridge.
Do you want to know my theory on Grandpa?
Yes, give us your theory on Grandpa.
Grandpa's a half vampire.
That'd be interesting.
He has a shelf of things that no one else can drink. And he's a taxidermist. So like maybe he staves off becoming a whole vampire by drinking animal blood. He clearly knows the vampires are there.
I don't know, because he's outside in the day all the time, and that doesn't seem to bother him at all. When
Michael comes back in from like one of the first, or like the second time he goes out with Star, when I have a whole paragraph of notes about their weird sex scene. But when he comes back from that, he's like wearing sunglasses and talking about like how like, you know, tired he is. And Grandpa also is walking around in the house with sunglasses on.
Could be.
And in the very beginning of the movie, when we meet Grandpa, he is quote unquote dead.
Hold on, it says
asleep as heck on the porch.
Yeah.
Chris says if he drank animal blood, he would turn into a different vampire. It's the plot of a sequel movie.
All right.
So
yeah, he's.
Or maybe he was a vampire hunter in his youth.
I don't know. He's also extremely chill with just vampires. Like,
and he knows who the head vampire is because the guy came.
The way he looked at Max, he was like slowly closed his door
and just closes himself in the office like, y'all be all right.
I'm like kids.
Really, from what you said, the grandpa.
I love Grandpa. He's great.
I love him.
Also, I'm gonna hold on to the fact that like when he was in his youth, he was a vampire hunter, but he's retired now, so he's like not my problem. He's like, I don't care.
The scene that really got me laughing so hard is the scene where I think Sam is reading like the vampire comic, and like his mom comes like, you know, lights out, kiddo, and he's like, after this comic, and she's like, okay, and then it's just Grandpa laughing in the door frame.
He's like, and they're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and like trying to jump scare you, and I literally had to pause it and laugh, and I was like, all right, Grandpa. Yeah.
Also, the fact that he just like keeps making taxidermed animals and leaving it in his. He sneaks in while his grandson's sleeping and just leaves them to stare at him when he wakes up.
Listen, Grandpa's great. As a kid, I had a grandpa like that. I strongly hated it. as an adult, I'm like, God, I miss it. It'd be so, like, looking back, like, man, I miss Grandpa.
I love Grandpa and Max, but I really love the Corey Feldman Vampire Hunter. He brought the comedy. I just love how serious they are all the time.
Oh.
It's, like, just so deadpan.
I did not like them at all, but I don't like stupid humor's not my humor.
Hold on. Wait. That's the next point.
I know, but still, I'm still talking about it right now.
That's fine. He's tired in the morning because he's up hunting. What if he never actually goes out with the widow? What if that's all a cover and he's just out killing other vampires?
One of the sequels, I know that the plot is that the widow is actually the blood that the boys were all drinking.
Oh.
That she was a vampire. And her blood is what turned them. So, again, leads to my theory that Grandpa was a vampire, but
Or vampire
I don't know.
hunts are trying to
Has
get
anybody
close.
looked at his feet? Has anybody seen Grandpa's feet? Because that is one surefire way to tell.
That's what they need to show. I feel the same way. Maybe like how Nanook protected Sam from Michael, keeping an animal would be like a scarecrow against a vampire. See, that was another thing that I wanted to bring up. Like, Sam had Nanook, which protected from the undead and stuff, but then Max had a hellhound, and I'm like, I appreciated that it showed both sides of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thorn.
Thorn.
There are so many things that I read where Thorn is like a protector of a devilish or lead devilish character that I'm like, is that a thing? I gotta figure out if that's a thing in mythology. There's a lot.
Thorn
Or
is
if
one of
it's
the girls from the Hex Girls.
yes.
Or it's just a Lost Boys reference secretly, and everyone's doing it thinking they're cool and slick.
No, sometimes things like that do, like, somebody does start it and then a couple people reference it, but then like other people who don't know the origin of the original reference just pick it up and it just becomes a thing. So
This do be true.
Nanook is my baby. I love Nanook.
As someone who lives with 5 huskies, yeah, I find Nanook adorable, but I would not want to live in Nanook.
I also love Thorn. There should be more Thorn love. It is not his fault his master is evil. He just does his job.
I did make a note that said Thorn is best dog. We love Thorn.
So your most disliked character. Also, I think that's the fastest I've ever gotten through a summary for a movie or anything.
I know.
But like 70% of people have seen it, so I was like, Thorn is pretty boy. Yes.
Probably the Vampire Hunter guys. Like,
mom.
they
Do expand.
Please expand.
they're just not my favorite. I liked the younger brother. Like, I liked I thought he was funny, but I feel like there was too many of them. Like, I mean, I guess in retrospect, you've got 5 vampire dudes, so you need 3 non-vampire dudes. But yeah,
Dad. That's Max.
It took me way too long to figure out that that's who that was. Because it was 30 some years ago.
Look, I've seen the movie who knows how many times, and today Chris goes, "That's Lorelei's dad," and I'm like, it is.
I figured out because of the voice. I heard the voice and I was like, I know this voice. Whose voice is that? I had to look it up. I'm like, I don't recognize that guy at all, but what the hell is his voice?
I was like that with one of the Frog Brothers, and I was like, I know your face, I know your voice. Where the fuck are you from? And he's the dude from the Goonies.
Yeah.
And
well, they
a whole bunch of other movies.
The Coreys, as they are known, which played the one Frog Brother and Sam, were in a lot of movies together in the 80s.
Have you mentioned it before? Because, like, I have no memory of this, but also I have a medical condition that fucks with my memory, so.
But yeah, like, Sam, I think Sam is, like, enough of the, like, stupid humor. Like, when he finds out that his brother's a vampire and the first words out of his mouth is, "I'm going to tell Mom you're going to be in so much trouble."
Just wait until Mom finds out.
Like, that was funny, and I liked that humor, I think adding all of them was just too much for me.
It might be because Sam and the Frog Brothers don't have the same kind of humor. Sam's humor is very, like, it's a witty dumb. So like, yeah, it's dumb, but it's witty because that's what else is a teenager going to like say in that moment? Because
Yeah.
I'm gonna
teenagers,
tell mom.
their like brains aren't fully developed to realize the gravity of the situation. So like, yeah, that was so teenager. It was so perfect. But then the Frog Brothers, they're deadpan dry humor. They're not saying anything to be witty. They're just saying
They
saying
think
things,
they're
and the
the shit.
audience, yeah, and the audience gets a laugh out of it because aha, look at these guys being stupid. So, which that's also not my kind of humor, but
The end, the how much do you think we could charge them for this? I'm like, you would be dead if it wasn't for them.
I also liked when by most dislike, I will get to my most dislike character. Purse.
all right, well, I'm gonna talk to chat while you think. Oh wait, who did you say?
I think Star is my most disliked character.
Okay, hold on. Chat. The mom's vibes are just off to me. Classic short hair mom cut to show she's cool, but she's just like so aloof. Genuinely, for such an important role, she's so understated. So I don't like any of the female characters. All two of them, I don't like either.
All two of them.
But I think the second Hunter kid was kind of dead weight story wise. If we're picking, let me tell you, I couldn't tell you which of them was being funny because I don't know the difference.
I was also cannot tell you which one of them was trying to be funny.
I mean, she's a hippie woman dealing with a divorce. I think it would have been better without the mom plot. I heavily disagree with this, but I do feel she's underused. It just feels too background for what it should be. I wish Star had a personality. So do I.
Yeah, that's
when the frog
Star had to be there because they had to have a weird sex scene.
No, I have a thing about Star. When the Frog Brothers burst into the church to fill up the canteens with holy water. Their humor, like their funny moments, like the Frog Brothers' funny moments to me were all like physical humor. Their physical humor was funny, but their like dialogue wasn't. So Cody, who was your dislike? You said Star?
I said Star.
Okay. Do you have reason for it? Or do you want me to go on my thing?
I'll just let you go on your thing. I just didn't like Star. She's just very for me.
So I didn't like either Star or the mom. I don't think you can take Star or the mom out and make the movie better. Like they were integral to the plot and they were very important. The mom, I just don't particularly gel with the mom's character type because she's like very sweet and very laid back, but I still kind of like I'm neutral to her because she's established as a woman going through a divorce. She's going through a divorce. She very obviously has a close bond with both of her sons. You know, they've started supporting her even though she doesn't lean on them, but they're still supportive of her. And then she goes back home to her dad to, you know, get the help and stuff. And then all of a sudden her oldest son has 180'd on her. He is going out all night. He's sleeping all day. He's getting an attitude that he didn't have before, and she's not quite sure how to handle it because she doesn't know what the cause is. And she knows that he's slipping away from her, and she knows that like deep down there's not really anything that she can do about it. She tries, but she just can't. And then her youngest son keeps doing things that from her perspective he's lying. He's starting things. Yeah, he's making up stories. He's lashing out. He's trying to get attention and everything, and then he's trying to brush it off as if it's nothing. And he's like
kind of gaslighting her a little bit.
Yeah.
And all she can figure is that it's because she's trying to move on from their dad rather quickly after the divorce. But you know what? You do you, boo. And so she's decided that her sons don't really need her. She's out of a messy divorce. She's going to try to date a guy who my problem is she doesn't seem comfortable with him. She's every time they're in a scene together, it's so awkward. She looks so uncomfortable. And the one time when he's like, boys that age need discipline. And he's like, or they're going to walk all over you. And she's like, my children don't walk all over me. And then he just like, brushes into a protective mother, and I'm like, no, bitch, you just insulted her parenting. She looks so confused. So I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie, the mom looks uncomfortable in most situations.
I think it's because she's squid. acting.
Like, to me, it's just like she looks uncomfortable in most
Oh.
situations. She's
And Star feels so weirdly inconsistent until like even after you find out her motivations. It's like this still doesn't 100% line up
Mhm.
with everything that's been going on. And she is definitely mostly there to be pretty. And like I feel or Chris and I feel that like because he suggested this and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. She and David are not a thing. They're like, David, there's nothing there. But he's using her to lure in Michael. He's using her to get the boys. So. And he's using Laddie to keep her.
Yeah, definitely.
It took me like 3/4 of the movie to realize Laddie's wearing a bellhop outfit.
He is wearing a bellhop outfit.
I want to know how there is an 8-year-old riding around on the back of a motorcycle with 4 dudes on giant motorcycle gang, and his face is on the back of a milk carton, and no one puts 2 and 2 together.
See, but here's the thing. It's the sleepy city of Santa Carla, and apparently vampires aren't the biggest of deal here. Like,
No.
people just kind of...
People that know about him are just pretty chill with him, actually.
So it's like maybe they just accept the loss and move on.
Yeah.
I had hopes with Star and was greatly disappointed. So I thought the Glitter Blood was great because it's a horror comedy, and I thought that was funny. Like they explode and the vampire goop and they go outside in the sun and it's just so sparkly. And I'm like, that's great.
I also think they did it originally for a texture thing. And I wonder how different it looked on film in the 80s versus now.
Yeah, that too.
It probably looked a lot different. Again, I don't know. I wasn't watching it in the 80s, but that happens a lot with effects.
See, I think you're right because this was the first time I noticed the purple and green glitter, and I feel like that's something I would have noticed before. But I was watching it on a Blu-ray. So I was watching it at like they had remastered it. Mm-hmm. So it's entirely possible that they did that with effects and stuff back then. And now they can't get away with it.
Now that we're in 1080p.
Both women were needed for the plot, but besides their moments, there was nothing to them. They both could have been. They could have been, but also it wasn't about the mom. Like, I feel like Star could have definitely been more involved, but it was the David and Michael show. But the mom, I feel like the mom was there just enough for what she... Because, like, you still get a whole-ass subplot with her. Mm-hmm. Like, there's... So... Which I'm not saying anybody has to like the mom. I'm just...
I kind of wish
story-wise.
I kind of wish Star was more, because like I literally in the notes I was like, "Ooh, Michael's gonna steal Star away from David. I am calling it now."
David's like, "No, I don't give a fuck. Take her."
Yeah, and then it's just like, "Take her," and then just like they have that weird, awkward sex scene, and then she's like shoved in a corner for like the final fight.
They were dirt bikes, Jess. I keep calling them not Harleys.
They're motorbikes.
They're motorcycles.
This is one of those things where if like I had cognizant thing that Lost Boys had glitter blood, I would have been like, oh, they sparkle. That's a Lost Boys reference. And then been sad because she knows nothing about vampires, apparently. This references nothing.
The moment you meant, I didn't cognizant glitter, but I was also like distracting myself while watching because that's how you get through horror movies. And the moment you mentioned glitter blood, my first thought was Twilight.
So here's the thing. For anybody who doesn't know the story of me, I irrationally will forever hold this against her, and it's not fair, but it's fine. We're never gonna meet. I'm not gonna harass her or anything.
Who's Stephanie Meyer?
Yes, but Bela Lugosi is the first actor to play Dracula on screen, and so I thought Bella was a reference to Bela Lugosi, and she's not. Like, Stephanie Meyer has actually answered that question in an interview where she's like, "No, that has nothing to do with it. Like, she didn't know that. It's just Beauty and the Beast, Bella." And I'm like,
said yes.
I'm like, what do you mean? I felt so betrayed.
It was a Beauty and the Beast reference.
She should have been smart. She should have said yes. Roll with it. It don't matter what the reference was.
I respect her more for being honest. I'm just very sad.
I don't respect her at all.
1080p. What is this? 2011. 4K, baby.
4K is not all it's cracked up to be.
We have a 4K TV, and he's in love with it.
It's not all it's cracked. I used to sell it. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Depends on the size, but there's a whole other. That's a electronic argument.
I have a banner that's why or why not, and I'm like, why or why not? What?
Are they your least or favorite characters?
Probably. So, what was the part that stuck out?
Goodly or badly?
I guess either way.
Somebody Myers not knowing. Yeah, on a technical.
I would say a part that stuck out for me was the soundtracks.
Right, so do I. So do I, Blake.
Was
Sorry, go ahead.
The music, shirtless saxophone man.
Mm-hmm.
I have visual aids. Don't worry, everybody.
Oh, listen. The moment I saw it, I was like, "There's a shirtless saxophone man," and then I saw him, I'm like, "Shirtless saxophone man, love him."
He's the picture for the Milo board.
Those feet.
I have the feet.
The feet.
I have a picture of those.
Also, the scene with Nanook being tied to the fence, and they're like trying to get it untied, and I'm like, none of you motherfuckers know how to unhook a leash from a collar. None of you.
Also, as they're running away, I watch a lot of cinema.
Take the collar off.
I could. First of all, no. I hate that channel.
But like when I saw them running, the only thing in my head was the Prometheus school of running away from things. Was the only thing I could think of as they're running straight ahead. I'm like, they went to the Prometheus school of running away from things. Lovely.
Okay, well, just so you know, CinemaSins opinions are banned from this channel because they're stupid. And things that they hold as sins, I'm like, they're not considering the genre. They're not considering the target demographic. There's so much. It's just basically they didn't like that part, so it's a sin. They anger me so much. So yes, their opinions are not allowed here.
I don't know. I take all their opinions with a grain of salt. But anywho, I'm like, that's the only part that like really stuck out to me. Was just like, the Prometheus school running away.
What was my other note?
But yeah, also them untying that dog. Like, guys, who tied her out there? Y'all know they're vampires.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm demisexual, therefore I just love his aesthetic. I just think he looks really cool. I do not.
As a gay
it's
man,
his mullet and the oil, and
mullet.
I'm a saxophone
it's just
player.
His long hair slicked back.
Is it just slicked back?
Yeah, it's a ponytail.
I will say, as a gay man, if there was a beautiful lady attached to the saxophone, I'd still feel the same. I'd still be saxophone woman. There we go.
Just finish. Yes, you came in. Yay. What a masterpiece. Emmy liked it.
Also, Sam and his entire aesthetic.
Let me tell you. See, one of the things that I love about that scene is that Sam goes out to save his dog. And then his older brother goes out to save his brother. But his older brother, because this would happen in a lot of other horror movies, his older brother does not drag his brother away from it and sacrifice the dog. No, his brother he's like, okay, we're saving the dog so I can get my brother in the house. Mm-hmm. And I respect that so much. It's like also very clear that Michael and the dog are not close. It's like, yes, that's my brother's dog. Yeah. But he's still so like, because in a lot of other movies and stuff, you know, siblings aren't that close. I love the closeness and the bond of this whole family. Yes. It's so good and so sweet. And like at every turn, Michael's always respectful of Nanook and of Sam's thing with Nanook. Like Nanook full on bites Michael to protect Sam at one point, and Sam comes downstairs and he's like, "What did you do to my dog?" And Michael's like, his hands cut open bleeding, and he's like, "Your dog bit me." And he's like, "Well, why did he bite you? What did he do to you?" And like Michael just kind of calms down and he's like, "Well, he was protecting you, actually." And I'm like, it would have been so different in other movies, and I just love that.
There was a scene
when
too.
Michael was keeping up, lost in the shadows.
My other favorite scene is like when Michael is looking for Star the first time, and you can clearly see they're holding hands to like not get lost, and he's like, "Why are you following me?" And I'm like, "Bro, you're holding his hand. He can't go anywhere." Like he's stuck with you. You're
bro, he can't go anywhere because you have a hold of him.
Right, you literally have his hand. I saw it. You guys are holding hands. Like he can't go anywhere.
Not anymore. I will never forget the plumbing. Oh my god! Let me. I have a note.
Okay,
I have a note in my Mila note reactions. That's just like the plumbing bill.
I also forgot about that until this just happened, and I remember watching it. I was like, "Why is this happening?"
Nanook got the first vampire kill in the big fight against the vampires.
My note
Dunked that
says,
fucker in the bathroom.
Grandpa's house has seen better days.
It has. Also,
Has
there's so much garlic. Where did they get all that garlic from?
Grandpa's cellar, which
Like-
leads to more questions. But also garlic apparently doesn't work, so it doesn't matter. The dramatic falling sequence transitioning into him on the bed. Yes, that was so good.
Yes.
I love that right after that is the phone call with the mom, because she's like, you've been going out all night, you've been sleeping all day, and like between that and the brother getting onto him, you know that a lot of time has passed. So like
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
has been going on for a bit. It was the way that they do their exposition and world building is just so.
It's so good.
It was the single note he could play for me. Liked it. I fucking loved it. How can people not like that movie? They
I
don't have
also-
taste. I don't know.
Everybody's allowed to have their own opinions.
Also,
I mean,
Richard Gilmore, the cool auntie from Practical Magic. What a dream team.
Also, the very first scene where you meet the Frog Brothers at the comic book store. Oh, like the comic book store. Perfect.
Well, hold on. This is two different things to that scene. So go ahead with what you were saying.
When we first meet the Frog Brothers, and like Sam kind of like looks up, and the frog and like one of the frogs looks at him. In my head, I was like, "Is this cruising? You're children. What is happening here?" And he looks at the other brother, and he's also kind of giving like smolder eyes. I'm like, "Is this some homoerotic shit? What is happening? What is going on here?" I don't feel.
I have a banner point for that.
And then it was just like, "Is this some gay shit happening? What is happening here?"
So Chris has a problem with the fact that like Michael had started following Star through the thing, and Sam dips into the comic book store, and then he's in the comic book store for quite a bit, and then you see Michael like having followed Star, and then like at the end of that little interaction, Sam just pops up and he's right there, and Chris is like, "How did he catch up to him?"
I was also thinking that, like, how did Sam get here so quick?
I just allow for the time lapse.
I'm thinking
There was-
special brother bond.
There secretly Sam has inherited his grandfather's super vampire hunter skills. So Emily, Jess and I, because I know you weren't here for the beginning, Jess and I have contradicting theories about the grandpa. Jess thinks he's half vampire, like permanently in the transitioning stage. I think he is a retired vampire hunter.
And I'm Switzerland.
The Frog Brothers handing Sam the vampire comic has the subtlety of a wrecking ball, and I love it.
I
love
and they did it twice on two separate occasions.
Yeah.
I love the way the foreshadowing is handled, because it's like there's a lot of foreshadowing that's in your face, and then some that's like a red herring, and then there's other bits that it's like the thing with Max. They straight out tell you Max is the head vampire, but then they red herring you and disprove that and prove that he's human. But then no, he is the head vampire.
Listen,
So
the
it's like-
moment
So
the moment he told
Tim's
Michael,
the vampire.
"You're the head of the house. I'm not going to come until you come in." I'm like, "Nope, you're a vampire. I don't trust you. Nope."
I think the way that it works in that series is they can enter the house without permission, but giving them permission takes they
All their
become
power.
Your
away.
ability to hurt them. Yeah, because the four
Yeah.
guys at the end all come in without being invited in. So
Yeah, but the moment he said that, I'm like, "You're a vampire. I don't trust you."
definitely a retired vampire hunter. He was super sus of Max, but I wouldn't say he knew him. I'm just saying that stake fence.
It's
the
Pretty
stake
sus.
fits.
Oh, I love the plot twist with Max so much. What if you were a half vampire and performed, and when they are on their period, do you turn?
Sir,
You married him.
sir.
I
This is the
know.
Wendy's.
It
sir.
took me a moment to realize what he was saying, though.
Sir, this is the Wendy's.
Also, you have to kill
yes.
someone. So unless you kill them during the act,
Do you have
of,
to kill them or
no.
just
I
drink the
wouldn't-
because
I
I
would
thought
say
it was
just-
just drink the blood.
I thought it was
She
just drink the
said-
blood too.
She said you haven't. She said she hadn't changed yet because she hasn't done her first kill. He was supposed to be her first kill.
Yeah, but well, I mean, because a lot of vampire stuff says that, but really, you just have to drink blood. So
Yeah.
that would be a really interesting loophole.
I don't know. She just said she had to make her first kill. So that's what I'm going
Although,
with.
so if it's you have to make your first kill, then no. But if you don't, then yes, because it's a type of blood. So, sir, this is.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Please take your
I
order.
have a note that says, Michael, oh, no, something's happening to me. I should go back to the vampire lair and confront them. Wait, just the head vamp's girlfriend's here. I should bone her instead of trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Oh, wait, what happened to that kid that was laying in bed with her 23 seconds ago? Where'd he go?
Hold on. That's some Empire vampire bullshit. I'll have a frosty and a baked potato. All
Me
right.
too.
So Jess,
Same.
if this would be a good time to go about your paragraph of the awkward vampire sex scene. Also, I'm very happy that my co-hosts all have notes for this Let's Talk.
I also have notes.
I have notes.
Yes, I said co-hosts.
Yes.
I've notes.
I stopped like 3
Normally
quarters
they
of the way
just
in.
cheat off mine.
We do.
Normally, but this time I'm like, I'm gonna make my own.
But yes,
I have
go ahead.
very few notes, but I made some. I mean, I grasp the concept, but where's the kid? Where did he go? It's been 20
happened?
seconds. Like, is
What
he just
happened to him?
laying there next to him while they do it? Like, I have questions.
I don't know if I want the answers.
Okay, so the sex doesn't start in the bed. The sex starts like because he comes and he's demanding answers, and then she's like, "I don't know how to help you, so let's fuck." And horny teenager, he's like, "Hey,"
All right.
and then it shows them in the bed, but the kid isn't in the bed when they wake up. So maybe you're supposed to gather that the child was moved before the sex began.
Maybe Lottie just woke up, saw them fucking, was like, I'm gonna go over there.
I'm gonna roll under now.
I'm just gonna go into bed.
I also would like to point
Like,
out that
the
um,
audience made notes.
Netflix is terrible and their subtitles are like not even close to being
So-
what people were actually saying.
So hold on. This is the calling out cliches. This is one of those times where you have to consider that this movie is the pioneer. It did them first. So it was actually the innovative movie that all of the other cliches are based off of. So
Yeah.
lovingly. See, I watched a ×2 speed. I didn't even realize the kid was
I just skipped it. I straight up was
I
yeah.
used that time to like catch up on my notes leading up to it, so I didn't have to pause it again. But yeah, the kid is jamming to the doors.
I saw sexy time happening. I'm like, skip.
I was summoned because Grace.
Oh, we're so sorry, CB.
Some scenes are so funny at an increased speed. Want to say hi, then leave because I have yet to see it. Okay, thank you for stopping by. Hopefully you left a like. Oh, that reminds me. Why is my banner not going?
Mm.
Oh,
Fox,
'Cause
you
you didn't
didn't
turn
yell
it
at
on?
me for that. How dare you?
wow.
Time had definitely passed between Michael getting there and the sex beginning. I don't think a lot of time passed though, because Michael got there and he looked around, and then like Jess is right. It starts like almost immediately. He's not there for
Yeah.
even 5 minutes. I just think that they may have moved the. I hope they may have moved.
My idea is he woke up in the middle of it and was like, I'm gonna go over here.
Just because they're trying to share or trying to censor, I will try harder. Wait, who's trying to censor? Did I miss approving a comment?
I
Oh,
didn't see anything.
I wonder if it was the.
I did because I'm a good daughter. Yay! Get Fox just sent me a GIF that says "Get out of my face, Sam, or I'll break it." He has so many Sam GIFs. It's impressive. That's the word I wanted. All right.
I wish to see this collection at some day.
So, I now would like to discuss the way vampirism was handled in this movie because I really love the way that it was handled.
The moment I saw that bottle, I knew exactly what it was.
We've touched on it a bit. And the way that you turn into a vampire in this movie is you have to drink vampire blood, and then after you drink vampire blood, you have to make a kill, and then you're a vampire. If the head vampire dies, then all of the vampires sired down the line die. And if you have drank vampire blood but have not killed yet, and the head vampire is moitered, then you become a human again. The teeth placement is the only thing I dislike.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
There's that. All right, so firstly, we'll pop this man up on screen.
There he is. Also, like, the moment they brought up the wine, I have a note that's like, drink this wine. I said, wine? You mean blood?
I love how Star's like, it's blood. And he's like, yeah, sure. And then he
Yeah.
drinks it. And I'm like, sir, blood tastes distinctly different from wine.
Also, when he removed it from his lips and there was not like any trail, I was like, maybe it is wine. And I was like, no, it's blood.
Well, also, if they were able to convince him that he was seeing things he wasn't seeing, like the maggots and the worms, I imagine they were able to control what it tasted like.
I don't know, because it's pretty common for vampires to be able to cast illusions and mess with your mind. I don't know about controlling other senses, though. I've never like heard of that. So I think maybe vampiric, because also vampiric blood is said to have a drunk or drug, like a high effect on people.
Euphoric
So maybe he
effect.
just got drunk or high.
Who knows?
Exactly.
I mean, he was high, so
Yeah.
Yes, I personally love that lore. I thought it was really cool to offer a chance to change back. Maybe it had vampire blood taste different. It had the viscosity of wine. That's true. It was.
That's
very
where I
legit.
was like, it does have the viscosity of wine. That's not blood, but.
So as everybody may be able to see, these feet. These are the
feet.
vampire feet.
The feet be upside down.
Like
I
that.
quite enjoy that the vampires have these kind of feet. I think it's interesting. And presumably a sign. They never like show you if they can have normal feet and just turn into these feet when they're sleeping. But
I would think that they would, because they like when they're sleeping, they have their vampire face when they're sleeping. Yeah, so I would imagine that they needed
have
to be
vampire
like
feet
mode.
Yeah.
And then here, for those who haven't seen it, here are the vampire faces, which so I think the teeth placement is fine for like this guy because his like front teeth are wide. And then it's like this. I think it's only him.
Yeah.
Because
I was actually just running my tongue over my teeth. Like, what teeth are those?
I really don't like it on any of them. It's not. I'm not a fan.
It's fine. They're missing a toe. I think it's because bats only have 4 toes.
Yeah.
What those feet do, they let you hang upside down
and sleep.
Yes.
They got a good grip.
And I always like the red rim around the eerie yellow eyes for vampires. Mm-hmm. Although I am bothered that their eyebrows disappear, and I don't understand why their eyebrows vanish.
Yeah, I was like, why did your eyebrows disappear, bud?
I understand it gives them a more monstrous look, so it's fine.
I also
probably because they didn't know how to put fake eyebrows on over top of the special effects makeup.
I mean, that's possible. I think it could just be more that it makes it look more alien, creepy, more unworldly. So then here's he has not a mullet. That's his regular. He's got a blowout with layers.
He told them no. He told the production team no.
Just showing you the vampire face at various angles. Oh god, I hate Max.
I don't.
He has eyebrows.
I would say Max also has eyebrows. They learned,
and that's why the rest of them don't.
It's because he's the head. That's what head vampire. You get eyebrows.
You have to be the boss to have eyebrows. Bill looks okay-ish. Top right looks like a meme, to be honest. Honestly, they all just do. Why must the eyes be so ugly? Because they're monsters. That's one of the reasons I like Lost Boys, is because it's supposed to be a gang of very pretty uh motorcycle boys in leather and crop tops and mesh shirts and everything. They're supposed to be very attractive and stuff. And then they turn into ugly monsters because that's what vampires are. So it's like it's the merging of both kinds of vampires that people, because normally people go one way or the other, and I like when it's both.
I also enjoy when it's both.
They
Prosthetics, they were limited. See, but this man has eyebrows.
I think it's because he's the boss.
But I think it's just
you run charge, you get eyebrows.
Also low budget. Brunette vampire was monsters, but the cat-like eyes look so much better. But doesn't.
I don't have a preference one way or the other. But again, this was almost. I mean, it was 35 years ago. They didn't have contact lenses like they have now. They didn't have ones that covered up your eye and changed the shape of your eye like they do now. I mean, you have to keep things like that in mind.
Things
also, David's hot. Sorry, David's hot.
Yeah. Well, and also the contacts they said were super uncomfortable for them. And the scene where David is chasing the kids out of the cavern and he his hand goes out into the sun and catches fire and you see a tear go down his cheek. Yeah. They said that was real. Like that was his contacts affecting his eye.
Yeah.
And like they were going to reshoot, but it was within context of the filming that they were doing. So they left.
I saw that. I was like, ooh, he's crying because of the fire. I didn't know it's because his eyes actually hurt.
His eyes were on fire. Yeah. I mean, because again, it was 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Having been in the cosplay community, I can confirm comfortable eye contacts were not a thing until the 2010s.
Yeah.
But after the 2010s, somebody figured out how to make them comfortable.
Yeah.
And to be able to see. Because to this day, some contacts still make it really hard to see, but most are fine.
And also putting little tiny weights in them, so
also
if you have a cat eye, it doesn't tilt on you.
Is he? Well, I guess because she makes reference to things are going to be different when school starts. Because I'm never sure if he's supposed to be a high schooler or freshly graduated and early college. But yeah,
I couldn't tell.
I'm sure most of those vampires were supposed to be teenagers, and no.
But that was
because they're like you don't ever have
back then.
They're like, yeah. There's a line that's like, "We'll never have to grow up," and I'm like, "Bitch, you an adult already."
I was gonna say you
an adult
in your
adult.
20s.
But that is how it is. He was 30.
Yeah, but sir, you're a grown-ass fan.
Giving the vibe of Michael from Underworld's hybrid makeup, just ugly, but he's decent looking for a human. And once again, vampires are just pretty compared to the Lycans. Hi, I'm Blake. I hyperfixated on Underworld as a kid. Hey, look, I saw all the Underworld movies with my dad in theaters. They hold a very special place in my heart. We'll have a Let's Talk Underworld at one point. You want to join on screen, Blake? You want to?
I need to rewatch Underworld.
So do I. I have the whole movie collection.
I'm not shocked.
I've always wanted to use colored eye contacts, but the idea of something touching my eye like that. I mean, that's fair. I'm wearing contacts right now. Well, these are my first pair of contacts in 10 years, but they're super comfortable and I love them and prefer them. And I don't ever want to go back to glasses.
I have some too. And I will his dirt bike on the beach, yeah.
Fair. Underworld is my life. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that we need an Underworld Let's Talk. Emily's like, I'm joining that one. I don't get a say.
Pick me. Don't pick me. I've never seen them.
I will gladly. I may have my two co-hosts for the Let's Talk Underworld.
Dang.
I mean, with the Vampire Diaries, all the vampires were from 18th century or later. Well, we're talking about because their bodies stop aging when they turn. So we're not talking their potentially age. We're talking the actors.
The actors, they look like grown-ass men.
Although, also in Vampire Diaries, there's no way that's a 17-year-old body. You're not. So they had the same problem. But yeah.
No.
They may be 16, but they look 42.
Actually, the actor who played Michael was 20 when they shot that movie.
That's
See,
That's
I
not
would've-
bad.
I would have assumed early to mid-20s is
Yeah.
how old he looked. That was my basis, but
Also,
I mean, in
I have a
comparison
note.
to some, not bad.
we have to do Fright Night as well, another absolute gem of the 80s vampire movies. So every now and then I will post in my community tab asking what kind of movies people want to see the Let's Talks for. So like if anybody has suggestions, like do it on that post and I make a list. So
I have a note on here that's like, interesting that Michael buys a leather jacket and has a dirt bike and then turns into a vampire, joins vampire gang that all wears leather and have dirt bikes.
Okay, we'll see, but that is one of those subtle plot points because he sees Star hang out with them, and then the very next time you see him, because all of them wear leather, they all have the earrings and everything, and so he's going around and he's very purposely molding his aesthetic to
Mhm.
what he's being a horny individual trying to get that booty.
Yeah,
And that's all it can be because he literally has not had more than one conversation with her.
Also, when Sam is like, you got your earring pierced, you got only one ear pierced, and part of me is like, which ear is it? I know one of them is the gay ear. Which ear is it?
I love the
he got the
part
straight.
where the very
Left is
beginning.
straight, right is gay.
Mm.
He got the straight ear pierced.
Okay, because I'm like, I know one of them's gay ears.
I have no clue. The very beginning of the movie, when they first get to the beach, Michael asks somebody if there's any jobs around, and the guy says not any that are legal. And that very same night, his mom gets a job at Max's movie store.
Yes. I just fact checked myself. This is the gay ear. This is the straight.
Okay, because I was like, I can't remember. I was gonna
For
Google
those
it, like,
who don't know what we're talking about, one of the ways that people in the queer community could signal to each other that they were queer was to pierce their right side. So
and only have one piercing
Yes,
is
only
on the
one.
right side.
Just on the right side.
Also, when the Frog Brothers were like, "Oh, hey, get back here with our comics," a part of me is like, "Do they own the comic book store? What is this?"
So
and then later they're like, "My family we were here with our families."
In the leading scene, there's two adults that look stoned at the opening, and I think you're supposed to get that those are the parents.
See, I did not, because I was like, "Do these kids like own and operate this comic book store?" 'Cause he's like,
I'll
take
be
this."
transparent.
I'm like,
I was typing and didn't notice them either, but Chris pointed them out. So
yeah, I was like, did he just hand it to him? What the fuck?
So this also goes into my next point, which is, was it 80s gay subtext or 80s gay subtext? Because I was talking to Chris about it, and he's like, well, Lost Boys is supposed to have a lot of gay subtext. And I'm like, oh, I can see that. And he's like, yeah, because, there's a lot of leather mesh tops. And he said something else. And I'm like, well, yeah, but that could just be very 80s.
Me and you had a conversation earlier about this.
Yeah.
About Sam's aesthetic specifically.
But it was made by Joel Schumacher, whom is gay. And in this era of media making, vampirism was used a lot as an allegory for homosexuality, especially because of the AIDS epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, like, it was a sneaky way to make queer media. And I don't know if it's confirmed, but at least the entirety of the fan base assumes David is in love with Michael.
I would wholeheartedly agree.
And
also, Sam has that very attractive man on his closet.
Yeah, Sam has a poster, and on his thing, and on his poster, there's a dude just like lifting up his shirt.
I saw that. I have a note that said, sir." Wait, hold on. I was like,
He also has a lady above his fireplace.
Does he? So
yeah. It's a
Wait.
girl. It's a girl on a car.
I didn't notice.
I wish I could remember who it was.
Because my note is, wait, why is there a hot man on Sam's wall? Is there something you want to tell us, Phoebe?
Oh, is that what I wrote? Yeah, all the Fright Nights. They were in the background every time, and then the kids mentioned it too. Who were?
So
I'm assuming the parents, because
according to the internet, the poster on his closet door is Rob Lowe, and the reason why it's on there is because Shoemaker had just directed St. Elmo's Fire, which Rob Lowe is in. So it was like an homage to a movie he had just done.
In the vampire hotel lair thing, there is a poster of Jimmy Morrison, whom is accredited with being the originator of shirtless rock stars in leather and the live hard, die young lifestyle. And he died at like 26 or 27. So I think it's kind of weird how every time they had a little drug induced thing in the vampire cave, that poster is just like faded into it. And I'm like, is he their vampire god? What's going on?
What is happening here? Who
I'm
is
so
this
fixated
man?
on the Resident Evil series, and my goal is to make like what you do is you're like, CB, I'd love to do a let's talk with you and Sam, and I think Resident Evil would be a good one.
Okay, but like, so Resident Evil is like actiony fun
Ew.
zombies, not like actual scary zombies.
Wait, you mean Resident Evil?
Yes.
Resident Evil's an action film. It's not meant to be
Yes.
scary.
Yeah, that's that's what I'm like. Even if you did have fear of zombies, it's more actiony than anything.
I mean, I could still understand somebody not wanting. Oh, I didn't see Test for Fear of Zombies.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear something that would have ruined the entire movie?
Yeah, yes, hit me.
The role of David was originally considered to be for Jim Carrey.
I love Jim Carrey, but no.
Right.
Oh, that's.
I'm so
No.
glad that wasn't a thing.
I also,
But
Right.
gay antagonist to contrast very straight seeming protagonist. To be fair, there's some times when Michael seemed like he might have been a little into what David had going on, but
there were some scenes where
Yeah,
him and Sam were like a little too close.
I think there's quite a lot of bisexual subtext in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying we need more bi rep. It's all good. Yeah, I think so. Here's the other thing. Remember, this was made in the 80s, and they had to get past the censor. So even if they just wanted David and Michael to be queer, or to be a thing, they still would have had to be like, cater to the censors and getting it approved by Hollywood. And so that's why we get a very awkward sex scene.
Yeah, they'd have to like beat around the bush, like with the 6-foot pole.
They had to beat a bush. I mean, but that was also very 80s. Have you seen what John Bon Jovi looked like in the 80s? Yeah, that's why I said, is it 80s?
Listen, because
I
love all of Sam's aesthetic. And
I
it's
think
just like, I can't tell if this is the 80s or just gay or both. I can't tell which one it is.
so. One of my notes for the gay subtext is it's like sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between 80s fashion and gay coded fashion. So much leather, crop tops, mesh tops, spandex. Is it 80s or a gay rave?
Yes, I saw
Absolutely.
that one and laughed.
I did too.
I'm glad that the spying upon my notes got all the laughs. Jim Carrey was in another great 80s vampire movie. Ooh, which one?
Sam, I'll always find your notes.
Jim Carrey is one of, in my opinion, one of the best physical comedians. The way he can move his face and his body, like his comedy oozes from every pore of his being. And like, I was actually just talking to Chris about Jim Carrey because Jim Carrey plays Robotnik in the Sonic movies. And I'm like, I honestly don't think anybody else would have been able to play Robotnik as well, because Jim Carrey is able to make him so just like campy and larger than life, but still fit within the more serious, grounded tone of the world, and that it's just something that Jim Carrey can do. He also plays my favorite Grinch.
He does.
Yeah.
And it's the Grinch that literally everybody I know quotes at least one time or another, especially it's like, it's like, I'm booked. I've got self-loathing.
At 2 o'clock, I have lunch with myself. I can't cancel that anymore. I have 3 o'clock crying in the corner. Like, I love that. I love the Jim Carrey Grinch.
So good.
And then that's get off topic.
Once bitten, maybe.
What?
Once bitten. Emily's just gonna make me a list of horror movies that I gotta get to for the Let's Talks. Yeah, it's Once Bitten. I will have to watch that. I know my 80s movies, especially. I love 80s movies. I think
I
Once
also
Bitten
enjoy
was
80s movies.
George Hamilton as a vampire, but damn, I saw that in the drive-in a long time ago. Jim Carrey and Once Bitten. This has become the Jim Carrey Once Bitten. Let's talk. I
Hello,
watched
welcome to the
Batman.
Jim Carrey Power Hour. Where we talk about Jim Carrey and only Jim Carrey.
Yeah, okay. That's the one movie that I deeply regret Jim Carrey existing in. Here's the thing. I loved Jim Carrey in that movie. I hated Jim Carrey as the Riddler. Like,
I enjoyed his presence, just not what he was doing.
I was like, that should have just been a different character and it would have been great, but no.
I just haven't noticed his grandpa got me, and I don't remember what it was in context to.
Well, what are your notes around it say? Maybe you can figure it out.
But I love Star Trek the movie.
He is.
That can't be a real reason for. Oh, wait.
There's other comedic actors that are like more well known because they they pay to make their own movies, but I don't find them even a fraction as funny as Jim Carrey. So I'm wrong. It was Jim Carrey. George Hamilton was in Love at First Bite.
One of my notes above
what do you want me to do with this?
I want to make tea.
Okay, how are you going to get the water for tea? You don't know? You have to go ask Daddy if he'll boil water on the stove because I have coffee in the coffee pot. Here you go. Leave my coffee pot there. It's got coffee. My coffee pot is more often used for hot water for tea than it is for coffee.
I've also done that. And then I got myself an electric kettle.
I love Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I thought he was great, especially along. See, here's the thing. If he were a different character, I would have loved it, but that's just not the Riddler to me. So I have a very, very mixed feelings.
So my note above the grandpa got me is that can't be a real reason for you to get a divorce. And I remember something the mom said.
Oh, that's when the grandpa went heh 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 because Sam's asking her to close the closet because of the closet monster, and she's like, I have to tell you that one of the reasons I divorced your father was he didn't believe in the closet monster. And then you hear heh heh heh.
Yeah, because
the closet's right next to the door.
Yeah, because I literally was like, that cannot be a real reason for you to get divorced. And then I actually paused at the perfect moment because that heh 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 was up on the subtext, but I didn't hear it yet. So I was like, interesting. Play, and then I heard it. And I was like, Grandpa got me.
It's like, to what is this? For why?
Yeah, and then the next scene is, wait, why is there a hot man on Sam's wall? Is there something you want to tell us about, BB?
Alright, so how they handle vampires. I'm looking at my notes now. Grandpa, this man is an icon in all forms. Also, apparently, casually lives outside of the murder. Oh yeah, Santa Carla is called the murder capital of the world.
Yep.
And one of the quotes that I enjoy is when Grandpa's like, "Well, he's like, let's put it this way: if all of the corpses in Santa Carla were to stand up at the same time, we'd have one hell of a population problem."
Yep.
And the mom's like, "Dad," and he's like,
I know, I love that quote so much. I love Grandpa.
So the Santa, go ahead.
How did you not put that together? What didn't you put together?
Yeah, what did you not put together? Santa Carla is based off of Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Which at one point was known as the murder capital of the world because there were 3 serial killers that killed 28 people in a 30-month period in the 70s.
Because they were vampires.
Yeah,
So,
vampire hunters.
Like, it was kind of based off of a real thing, but not really.
Yes.
The
rest of my sentence was outside the murder capital of the world, fully aware of their vampire problem.
Right.
Also,
Closet monster, grandpa laughing divorce. Oh, yes.
Also, I have a quote that says, "I'm at the mercy of your sex glands," when Michael is leading Sam while holding hands. And then Sam just says, "I'm at the mercy of your sex glands." Yeah, why are you following me? I'm at the mercy of your sex glands. And part of me is like, this is how a porn starts, y'all.
No, Cody.
Like, I know y'all are brothers, but this is how a porn starts. I feel very uncomfortable here. I need an adult. And so do you two.
And then I have the Peter Pan quotes. I also, one of the things I appreciate is when the mom was like, "Oh, the gay director." It was so obvious. Yeah.
I just got it. Like
Oh
right
my
now.
god.
Like, because I thought
I
we
also
were
just
talking
got
about. I
The
thought
mom left the dad because he had a boyfriend.
my brain went to her dad tortured her as a kid and made her believe in the closet monster,
That's
and
what
she
I
still
thought.
believed in it as an adult.
Because her dad would still torture her as a closet monster.
Because her
That's what
dad
my
was still
grandpa
torturing
did.
her as the closet monster.
Because that's what my grandpa did. I was like, I relate. It's so hard to this.
Emily's
I'm sorry. I'm too straight for this. I'm sorry.
I'm the gay one and I didn't
Okay.
catch that.
It's
not
all right,
excuse.
Emily. I'm queer enough. I got you.
You see this?
Apparently, I just don't have the grandpa-related traumas. That may or may
And
not
me and Jess
present.
did. That's where me and Jess were connecting. She's like, yes, grandpa trauma? Mm-hmm.
The grandpa trauma. I've got that. So yeah.
Same.
Oh, shit, I just got that. Yeah, to be fair,
we can tell
I
who's
think-
grandpa trauma now.
like I said, they were so good at putting such subtle shit in. Either
Uh,
that or the dad didn't accept the kid being gay. Oh, that could be it too. I like the other one because it's less painful.
It's
for
funny,
the
not
child.
sad.
yeah.
It's,
I mean,
less-
it's not funny either
it-
that their family
less
broke apart because the
painful.
dad decided to marry a man, but it doesn't,
It's less
the
painful. and
closet
also-
monster with the grandpa laughing makes it
it's
funny.
funnier.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do think that might be a thing because like in the 80s and 90s there was like a surgence of gay men coming out of the closet after having been married for like 20 to 30 years. So
My cousin
that-
went through that.
that may in fact be a reference to that Emily caught on. The Christmas dads and traumatizing their kids with monsters.
My grandpa, man. Mm-mm.
There was something else I was gonna say, and then the closet monster. I'll just go back to my notes. The gay subtext.
I was.
Yes, the director is gay. Sam has an interesting poster. David seems into Michael and has zero interest in Star. Star's bait for guys.
Yep.
And then the vampirism with the allegory for homosexuality and AIDS epidemic. Oh, there was some Jim Morrison poster. Lots of zoom ins. That's my only note. So something that I've seen this movie quite a few times. Something that like I either had forgotten or just caught this time. Star of David.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Star-
I saw that in your notes. I was like, what is that a reference to? I don't remember there being any Jews in this.
Michael literally has a line where he's like, "Where's Star, David?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, how have I never connected the Star of David reference and David and Star?" And the director is of Jewish descent, so it's like
that would explain. I also have a quote in here. Let's go to town. Turns off car. That's about as close to town as I want to get.
I love how like easygoing the grandpa is. They steal his car,
Yeah.
and when they come back covered in vampire glitter goo,
Yep.
carrying an unconscious child in a leather
And
jacket.
woman.
And a woman. Well, no, I think he just had one of them in his arms.
I think
No.
Star was still unconscious.
Star was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
Okay.
carrying Star and a child.
And up the stairs, and his grandpa's like you know about the rule of filling the gas tank when you take the car without permission.
Yeah.
And Michael's like, "No, Grandpa," and he's like, "Well, now you do."
And then walks away.
I'm like,
Hey, Grandpa, honey.
Blake got the Star connection, I assume.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, and then
sorry.
I have a note that just says, I just realized the child is wearing a bellhop uniform.
All right, I'm going to show some pictures now. This is this is Sam, and then these are the Frog Brothers, whose names I totally forgot for a second.
Also, I think the
Support-
Frog Brother on the right is a Rambo reference, but I don't know when Rambo came out.
It's
They're
100%. It's a Rambo reference.
Okay, cool. Because I thought about that casually, but I'm like, I don't remember when Rambo came out, so I can't tell if it's a Rambo
The
reference.
early 80s, I think.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
It's
But definitely-
Edgar and
Yeah,
Alan.
no. Yeah, Edgar and Alan are the Frog Brothers. I mean, I forgot the word Frog Brothers.
Edgar Allan Poe.
And
Edgar.
Corey Feldman, which is the Rambo guy, is Edgar, and the other guy is Alan.
Yeah. When I saw Corey for the first time, I was like, all right, buddy, where do I know you from? My God, Grandpa!
So this is the scene right after the closet monster, and he brings a beaver, and I just thought about Beaver Dam, and
I think
That
about
was
something else
it.
when it comes to beavers.
what were you thinking of?
Beavers are also part of a specific part on a lady.
Yes, that's
What she was saying too.
what I
Okay,
was
good.
referring
Well,
to.
don't mind me.
I think if I remember correctly, Beaver Dam is essentially the vagina version of a cock block.
I just love that Sam wakes up to an owl.
It's also a form of female birth control, but that's a whole other thing for a whole other day.
Edgar and or Alan and Edgar. Are you kidding me? This movie, right? So good. And then
Grandpa's
here's
drinking his animal blood.
here's the scene. Okay, yeah, okay. Michael has Star in his arms, and then
Edgar has
Edgar has Lonnie, Laddie. Why did I say Lonnie?
Yeah.
Laddie in the leather coat.
He's just like, do you know the rules about stealing
You know
his
the
card,
rule?
filling up with
No.
gas?
Now you do.
Goodbye. And just walks away.
I love him. He's a great grandpa.
I love Grandpa.
And then she does not look comfortable to be with
No.
this man.
She does not.
But like that's her face most of the movie.
Like, I like the actors. I think they did a great job. I feel her character was kind of underutilized, but like, I can't really think of how it would have been better utilized to serve the plot for what the plot was for. But also, their romance seemed so. And it's
Also-
a comedy horror though, so that's fine. That's not like.
Also, in the very
It's a-
beginning, when he first meets her, he's like, "Oh, you're a compassionate person. I like
And
that."
she's
in a
just
person.
like, what? She's like,
Here's a lollipop.
They said that they actually cut quite a few of her scenes, and there was someone else too that they cut like all but one of their scenes, but they're still like majorly credited in the movie, but I don't remember who it was.
I need the extended version of Lost Boys now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How dare you? Richard. I love him. He was a great villain. I enjoyed him as a villain. So
I enjoyed
this is our curly mullet that we were describing earlier that only works because he's so adorable. To me, anyway.
I could see where, it does
Yeah.
work because he is adorable. Also, David's hot. I know I said it before, but I'll say it again.
So one of the things that I love about the Lost Boys movie is that they did a bunch of promo shoots like rock shoots. So we have like this image, then we have this image, and then like look at Laddie.
And you try to be real hardcore.
Well, this is a screenshot. That's the same. This is the extended screenshot of that one. So, is he wearing a bandage or is his shirt just? I think his shirt's just that ripped.
I think his shirt is just that ripped.
I also like how like we have the levels of uncovered because like we've got our leader here who's just fully covered.
I love his coat.
And then he had a t-shirt. He's got a mesh top, and then he's just like, nah.
No shirt.
This is after they scalped that one guy with their teeth.
Oh, that was another thing. Like, okay, so one of the things I like about the monster attacks and stuff is it's kind of like from a first-person point of view of the vampires flying around, and you don't really see any of the gore or anything until like the first real thing you see is David biting into the top of a skull,
And then
And
the
I'm
blood
like-
gushing.
I'm like, the power, that bite bite power. This also implies that they're just fucking ripping people apart. And I'm like, I'm here for this monstrosity.
Right. They're not like, drink from the neck bloodsuckers. They are.
Anywhere you can bite, go for it.
And I love them. Gay emo boy band. David kind of looks like Spike. I just noticed that. I wonder if Spike's a reference to David.
Probably.
That would be very interesting to figure out. More like Spike looks like. Thank you, Blake. I already are. We've got this one, which is like the same scene but a different angle. These have to be like behind, like some of them are behind the scenes promo shots of the same thing. And then I got this one to like show the vampire makeup and stuff. His hair looks like far messier here.
The one
Are
guy
these the
looks like a
same
lion.
Yeah, oh god, he does. I love that man now. And then this is from my section. What is this section? Hold on, let me go see.
The brothers.
Oh, bros, yo. Yeah. So this is when my drink from the skull like a mug.
I just looked up Spike trivia and it is a Lost Boys reference.
Yes! We're good. Victory. I have to remember what I was gonna say. Oh, so in this scene, this is the scene where Michael is just like sleeping on his bed.
Yeah, he's in bed.
His brother comes in, and what is the term he uses? He says, "Are you like blazing something?"
Oh, I don't remember.
I have it in my notes. Hold on, y'all are joining me on the journey.
Going on an adventure. We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
Take me there, Milo. Note. Go. It's down here. You can go away now. All right, so he accuses him of freebasing, which means smoking crack.
Mm.
You can. I know that part. It was the freebasing I couldn't remember. Go away, search thing. Excuse me, me and Milo Note are gonna fight now.
Milo said no, ma. Nah.
Look here, Milo. I'll fuck you up. That's how me and Milo Note had a fight. But yeah, so his brother accuses him of smoking cocaine, and then his mom's like, I need you to, like, I have a date tonight. Can you stay home with your brother? And Michael's first thing is, Mom, he's old enough to stay home by himself, which it's like, okay, is he saying this because he's cranky or anything? But then his brother's like, yeah, I don't need a babysitter. And he's like, shh, like your sibling when you're trying to tell your other sibling to shut up so that you can, like, handle the situation.
Yeah,
like, oh,
schmooze things over yourself.
This is probably just him trying to like support his brother's independence. He's just saying it crankily because he's
tired. He just woke up.
Yeah.
Also, I love that he wakes him up. He says, "Phone's for you." Plops it on his chest. It's Mom.
Well, no, he's like, Mom wants to talk to you, and he's like, well, where is she? And he's like, on the phone. Bam.
Yeah, that's what he did. It's like, dang.
I also, one of the things that I didn't put in there, in my notes to talk about, but I just remembered, is that a lot of the, like, when the vampires are doing something during the transition, drinking the blood and everything, it's very like a drug allegory, and then the like craving for blood is very similar to like addiction stuff. So, which again is a lot of 80s media did that at the time because it's all connected to that subcultural perception with drugs and AIDS and all of that. So this is Michael. Michael has amazing self-control. He watches a slaughtering of a bonfire, vamps out, and still does not go to kill anybody or drink from their blood.
Nope.
Yeah, because he's part vampire, because his grandpa's a half vampire.
Oh, because he's just genetically vampire. I see.
Mm.
And then this is just to show some of Sam's fashion, because he's very fashionable.
He is. He's a
You wanna say hi?
fashionable queen.
You have to come. There you go. You don't really have time today. It might cut you off. And then here's the brothers. Also, Emily said, I think you're right. I think there's a lot of 80s siblings that are actually good siblings. I said you can go, just that you might not be able to do your full time. Go do your dailies. It's okay. My child wants his computer time, and I have a family setting on there so that it kicks them off after a half hour or at a certain time of night. So I forgot I had the meat thermometer in my hair. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Oh, yeah, for those who aren't Cody,
I thought we were going to reference it. I wasn't going to bring it up at all.
I don't care. I am using a meat thermometer to keep some of my hair pinned underneath my headset.
Yeah, she's like, am I using a meat thermometer? And I'm like, I don't know. Are you? She's like, I am. Do you see? And then just...
Whatever gets the job done, girl.
And then the Frog Brothers again. I like how they're just perpetually like that. And then this is the Lost Boys like cover, the movie poster, which is just good. I like that he has the sunglasses on because he does spend most of the movie with sunglasses. And then I like how, despite the fact he's bigger and right here, your eyes are still drawn to this man.
Yep. Because he's looking just directly at you, and he's in the middle.
Damn random findings. I needed something to keep my hair, like, because it wouldn't stay tucked under, and that was the closest thing at hand that would work.
You weren't in the kitchen.
Correct. I was not in the kitchen.
Nope.
Why is the meat thermometer the closest thing to you?
Because I still have not rinsed all my dishes, Jess. There's still a large pile in the living room.
Okay, fair enough.
And I even saw it. I was like, honestly, if my hair was long enough, I would do the same thing. That's the closest thing near me. Meat thermometer, just gonna...
Yes, the poster is amazing. So, is there anything anybody wanted to talk about with the movie that... I'm going to go to my big thing of notes now.
I would like to fun factoid you.
Yes, hit us with those trivia facts.
They said that it took 2 weeks to film the death by stereo scene.
Why so?
2 weeks to film that scene, like to get everything done correctly. The filming for the entire movie was 3 weeks.
And 2 weeks of it was one scene.
That was 30 seconds long. I mean, I'm assuming that there was more than one crew, and one crew was working on that specific scene for a couple of weeks. But, yeah.
Could you imagine him having to go in there like, we need him for a scene for a second. You can have him again in a moment.
Yeah. Like, we just need him for the scene. Don't worry about it, guys. Just make up.
Right.
Oh, I love Granddad's rules for the house. His rules are don't touch the second shelf of the fridge because it's where he keeps his root beers and double stuffed Oreo cookies.
Yep.
And then like the kids like make a weed joke.
Yep.
Don't touch anything because everything's where he likes it. He proceeds to not care after that. Don't pull the address sticker off the TV guide. No, he doesn't have a TV. He doesn't watch TV. Because if you read the TV guide, you don't have to watch TV.
I love that line. I actually have that written down on my notes. And the moment you started, I'm like, I love that line from Grandpa.
And then don't go in the taxidermy place. Presumably because he's either drinking blood in there or that's where all his vampire hunting weapons go. This movie is now one of my favorites and I love it and I'm so happy I finally watched it. It's been on my list for ages and I was so scared it would be bad, but my God, what a masterpiece. I am glad to have facilitated this for you because it's like I was watching it and I was in like one of the servers I'm in and I'm like, I highly encourage everybody to go watch this movie. And not just because I'm going to be talking about it tonight.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
That he could be diabetic.
He could.
He could be diabetic and a vampire. He could be diabetic and
Vampire Hunter.
Vampire Hunter.
Also, I will say I did text Sam. I was like, I'm halfway through this movie and I feel like I've been watching it for an hour because there's so much happening. So much happened within the first half hour of this movie.
So good.
It's been a week.
Pretty sure he was growing the weed in there. Could be it too.
He was growing the weed right outside the kitchen window.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah, he was.
Like it was outside. He wasn't hiding it.
It was out in the open. Sir, you've been here for like 2 days. Why are you picking fights? Because Michael looked out the window. Oh, okay, Michael. That could be it. Michael looked out the window, saw the weed growing there, and went,
Yeah.
I see.
I think that's what it was.
I remember him looking out the window. I just did not catch that weed was growing out the window when they showed
Yeah.
Grandpa on the porch.
I was too distracted by Grandpa's old fart mark on his shelf in the fridge.
If the corpses were buried here.
You would have a population problem.
Yeah, I'm looking through like my main notes to see if there's anything, because like there is so much in the movie and stuff. I know that there are probably like a scene or something I want to talk about that I'm just not thinking of. I liked the movie a lot. I'm gonna go back to some other vampire movies and shows I've seen and see if there's references to the movie. That would be cool. I'm such a dork. You mentioned TV Guide, and I instantly think of a scene in a Monkeys episode where they do a bit of referencing TV Guide. And Michael said they were ex-hippies. Yes.
Because his name was almost going to be Moonbeam.
Yes. Star was very distinctly dressed in bohemian clothing, and nobody else in the movie was, except like Grandpa mildly was 70s.
Because I saw that, and I'm like, okay, look at this gypsy queen. All right.
Don't use that word on this channel. That is a slur.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
That was part of the reason I specifically said bohemian.
Okay.
But so first time viewers just I was saying like first time viewers just because when the mullet biker gang comes into the TV shop and like Max is just watching them walk around and stuff, it's like first time viewers because they like are on a carousel at the beginning and a security guard comes and tells them, I told y'all that you're not allowed on the pier. And then they leave, and then the security guard dies. And then, like, they go in the store, and as they're leaving, Max is like, I told you not to come in here. So it's like, oh, is this a repeat thing for first viewers? But then, like, when you're rewatching it, you're like, that is a dad chastising his children. I told you not to come in here when I'm at work.
Do not bother father while he's at work.
Well, because they were looking for a snack.
Yeah. Like,
and Max is looking for a new mommy.
And then like later on when Max like goes home alone at night, his dog barks, and like much like Nanook barks when vampires or anything are around, and then you get the vampire first person point of view. So it's like, did they nom him? And then other things then Michael goes into the cave and then there's the sex scene. So it's like they want you to forget that he was supposed to be nommed when you see him next. I forget nothing except things I didn't see, like weed windows. She was probably a hippie in the 70s, and she hasn't aged. No, because she's not a vampire yet. She's still transitioning. That's why she was alive at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Her and Lottie
I wonder
both.
how long you can stay in that stage, though.
David said that you don't stop aging until you become a full vampire.
Because Lottie's missing milk carton was the same age.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't
see him.
You wouldn't have him on. That's because he had just gone missing. Like they wouldn't still be looking for him years later on a milk carton. I don't know. Maybe they would.
Who knows?
Some parents are determined.
Yeah.
Lost Boys.
Unclear, Emily. Unclear.
I missed that detail. Thanks 2 times speed. It's in the bonfire scene. Because that's when David's like, he's like, now you know what we are, and now you know what you are. And he's like, once you make your first kill, you're like trapped.
Yeah, you're one of us. Would you like to join us, Michael? Be one of us.
Okay.
There was a thing in the
y'all entertain chat. I got lotion tattoos.
You do that. There was a thing in the facts that said that Michael's name was said like 180 sometimes by the other characters in the movie.
Ooh.
They say his name a lot. And there was something about David has the least amount of lines of all of the main characters, but has like quadruple the other three vampires put together.
Oh, dang.
They hardly ever talk.
They really don't.
The only time they talk is to do that weird vampire echo chorus.
Michael.
Michael, jump, Michael, jump.
Right. And like the rest of the time, they're very quiet.
Yeah.
But might just be because, you know, the Frog Brothers talk so much that somebody needed to be quiet.
Wait, which Kiefer Sutherland said which scene was central? Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah. Oh, okay. So Chris. So apparently that scene where like we haven't explained that scene yet. There is a scene before or like right after Michael drinks the blood. They go to a railroad track bridge and then they all like jump down and they're holding on to the rails and stuff and all of the vampires like fall down. Well, Michael's holding on because they all fall into a fog and then he hears them going, Michael, jump, Michael. And apparently Kiefer Sutherland said that scene was so sensual and like David was supposed to have like caught Michael when he landed. So
I was waiting for that. The moment he dropped him, like Michael's gonna catch him or David's gonna catch him. And then he didn't, and he just fell in bed. I'm like, oh, well, dang.
I need to know why David looked so orgasmic when he died. I need to. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Chris says in sequels he was alive. I still need to know, because he was stabbed in the back with two very large horns.
Yeah.
I know, look, still, why would his facial expression be like, oh, that was so good? Like,
oh, yeah.
Chris is saying I shouldn't kink shame the vampire.
But is it really kink shaming, though, when you're just questioning why he's still alive later?
Well, no, I'm not questioning
why. Or like why his face is so orgasmic.
if you see the first movie and only the first movie, you assume he died like the rest of the vampires. Mm-hmm. But apparently he didn't die. So Chris is saying with the additional context of the fact that he's not actually dead, his expression is just because he really liked being pierced. And then now me thinking of it in all the gay subtext, he enjoyed Michael piercing him, I guess.
Yeah, and it was I was
the movie is a commentary on I mean that could have been it too, because like I said, it's an allegory with drugs and stuff, so very possible. I'm still watching The Three Musketeers today. I need more young Kiefer Sutherland because Michael did it. See, everybody's on that train now.
They did say that originally the movie was supposed to end with the surviving vampires getting back together at the hotel. And there was supposed to be like a picture from like the early 1900s before the earthquake with Max having been like someone who was in the earthquake, or like the hotel was like something that he managed or ran. And that was why the vampires were hanging out there. But I also think that for that to be the case, that David would not have been a vampire created by Max because they killed Max. So how would David still be alive?
To be fair, like not all of what the Frog Brothers said was true, because they're like vampires glow in the dark. None of them glowed in the dark and stuff. So maybe it's a misleading factoid.
And also
because they had several of those, like the garlic thing too.
I was gonna say the garlic.
But also like,
garlic don't mean shit.
I feel like you could be right. And also like David felt like he was older than the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like he dressed differently. The rest of them are out there in their open leather jackets with their like shirts and stuff and being very quintessential 80s. And then like David was in his trench coats buttoned all the way up. He's got
Yeah.
fingerless
Gloves.
gloves on and stuff, and it's like he still fits in, but he is also kind of very distinct when you look
Yes.
at them like that.
It's almost
David
like
was
he
ready to
is.
start 24. 24 what?
It's
It's a
almost
TV
like
show.
he's.
that Kiefer Sutherland was in.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. I
Yeah, it's
know
almost like
nothing.
he's the older brother, and the other ones are his younger brothers. Like
David was yes, very Victorian Gothic. Thank you.
There was also something about Max is a reference to Dracula's older brother, and Lucy was a reference to Lucy from Dracula. There's a lot of like other vampire references.
So many vampire references and
I
goth
mean,
references.
How
It's
do you
so
get
great.
much
It's
stuff
beautiful.
into one thing? Like,
By being a genius.
by doing your
I mean,
research and shoving it all in at once.
obviously you can't look at like the things that have happened since then and be like, how did that fit in there? Because it didn't. Like, they got it from that.
Yeah.
But to see everything that they were able to work into like an hour
Everything
and
that's
40
an actual
movie,
reference.
yeah, it's insane. Because
Shit.
now movies are just an hour and 40 minutes of stupid.
I have a note that says shit heats up as they drive to a cliff. Mullet gang leader, parentheses, David, because this is the time when I remembered his name.
I still didn't know his name.
It's fine.
I know all their names.
I've seen the movie like a lot, so I should know all their names, but I have a really bad habit of remembering names for some reason.
I won't know them next week, but I know them today.
Today I know them.
Well, I only need them for today.
Yeah.
That's right.
I
mean, I watched it like
right
for
those
we did this. So
for those of you who haven't watched the movie, do not eat during any vampire cave scenes.
If the moment they mention a cave, put the food down. Do not do it.
Because Cody was like, I'm eating breakfast and watching and watching The Lost Boys, and I'm like, oh, I hope you don't lose your breakfast. And he's like, what? I'm like, it's really because he, not knowing it was a horror comedy, Cody was expecting a lot of gore, and I'm like, no, that's not it. It's just a vampire cave scene. You'll be fine any other time.
Literally, I was like, I don't think this is great to watch during breakfast, but here we are. And then
in the sequels, he is Dracula's older brother. Yeah. We have to watch these sequels.
And then at one point they're like, "Oh man, in this cave," and I was like, "I've made it to the cave scene, the infamous cave scene."
I did. Cody was like, "I'm about to eat again, but there's a cave scene. I'ma wait." And then the next message was, "I'm so glad I waited."
Because they had a spaghetti scene. I'm like, I really want spaghetti. And then I was like, I'm awake because I haven't met this cave scene yet. I don't think I have. And they're like, oh man, this cave goes on forever. I'm like, I'm in the cave scene now. They're like, I'm really glad I waited until the cave scene was over. And I just waited for the movie to be over just in case.
So in my notes, I'm like, they go to the bridge with a railroad track, and I misread my notes as to fuck him. And I'm like, but I wouldn't have wrote that. I didn't know that Kiefer Sutherland thought that scene was sensual until just this moment. So I'm gonna assume now that there are a lot of vampire scenes that are implied orgies. That is what I am thinking.
I wouldn't,
because it's like it's all foggy at that scene, and like he's like leaning back and he's looking really into it. So
yeah,
I'm gonna assume we had some things.
Some adult funsies.
Adult brunette vampire is still hot. Yes, his blowout, and just he has that thing with a leather jacket and no shirt. I'm into that. That's
same.
Oh yeah, they yell his full name at the bridge. They're like, Michael Emerson, and it's like, how you know my surname, bitches? I didn't give that to you.
I was like, ooh, how did they know his name?
Yeah, a plot thing that we haven't mentioned is that Max had wanted them to turn Michael and Sam so that he could get the mom. What am I looking at?
Yeah. So and the mom worked for Max, so he would have known their last name.
According to this, in the comic, Sam's grandpa is really a half vampire and only feeds on animals to stay that way. The reason he didn't return to normal at the end of the film like Michael, Star, and Laddie is because the widow Johnson, a never-seen character in the first movie, sired him, not Max.
Also, we have the same phone case.
So the comics are not congruent with the movies, though. So it's like that doesn't necessarily mean it's canon to the movie. But somebody had the same idea as Jess and was like, you know what? This is what I'm doing in the comics. But it could be true. Could be.
Could be.
Doing it.
Hold on.
I have a thinky, so I'm a doobie.
Joel Schumacher was also involved in the comics. So either that was his intention all along and they were just able to add it into the comics, or somebody said the idea and he approved of it. So
Who knows?
yes.
Not me.
He was hot guy in Charmed. There were so many men.
I
in
was gonna
Charmed.
say there's
He
a lot of
murdered
hot guys in
one a week.
Charmed.
Oh,
A lot of hot
yeah.
guys in Charmed.
I can, like, I just figured out who it was. Like, I can see his face.
Like Cody and I are like, there were so many men in Charmed, but just as like, I know the exact
The actual
opposite
one.
fuck
Yep.
are you talking about.
I know exactly who you meet, and both me and Sam are like, there's a lot.
Taxidermy.
I know who we're talking about.
Well, I mean, the taxidermy is just making sure you're not wasteful.
Yeah, that's just being that's a taxidermist. I know a lot of them.
Yes, I heard Charmed. I like the idea that he is a half vampire who also hunts vampires. But that also could lead to why Michael was so good, had such good resistance, which I think you said earlier. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Welcome to another fixation. Okay. I mean,
watched
y'all can talk. I'm looking over my notes again.
I mean, I think I talked about all the things I wanted to talk about with this movie. It's a good movie. I like the music. I wish there was one shirtless saxophone man, but
The Windex after.
oh my god, the Windex aftershave! Oh, hey, do you have any good aftershave? Try this Windex. Ah, yes.
Also, Sam taking his bubble bath and just like rocking out.
Oh my god,
and
and just having a time for like an hour.
I'm like, I need a bath big enough that I can do this again.
Yes, my roommate's currently renovating our bathroom, so we can do that, and I'm so excited.
Oh, the exact quote is, "Wait till mom finds out, Mister." And I think the addition of Mister makes it so much funnier because he's
Or
talking to his older brother.
And there's also a scene where Star comes in the house, and Sam is like hidden underneath the blanket.
Like
if
that's
she-
gonna protect him.
Yeah, like if she kills me, I'm gonna be so mad at you. Like,
It's like, Mike, she's a vampire. Don't tell me that she's a good person. If she kills me, I'm gonna be so mad at you. I
Yes.
love his dialogue.
I love Max, or not Max, Sam, Michael and Sam together. They're just like, it's like you can tell these are brothers who like
They're
each
so
other.
Good. I love all the family relationships in
Yeah.
that movie.
They are good. Oh, also when the mom is like, I thought we were friends. We are friends. Oh, really? Why don't we talk like we're friends?
No, she's like, Michael, I thought we were friends. And he's like, sure. And she's like, sure. So are we or aren't we?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Do we need to talk? That part legitimately breaks my heart because I'm like, she senses that her teenage son is pulling away and that she can do nothing to help him. And that's just so heartbreaking. I also, like, I felt it when she comes into the kitchen and she's like, you spilt milk on the floor and nobody cleans it up. The fridge is opening. Are you trying to refrigerate the world? I'm like, I feel that. I have walked into the room with spilt juice and everything. And I'm like, and then it's like, why didn't anybody clean it up? And you just hear a chorus of, I didn't do it. And I'm like, I didn't ask who did it.
I've been the person on the receiving end of that yelling and being like, I didn't do it though.
Billy Worth is the actor's name. The moment's great. The sex scene. Well, okay. So one of my issues with the sex scene is while the sex scene is going on. Sorry, my brain just made another connection that I'll share. While the sex scene is going on, one of the main songs is playing, and it's "Cry Little Sister." And I'm like, I don't want to hear "Cry Little Sister" while they're boning. I know they're playing it for the "Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt," but still, it starts. It's like, "Cry, little sister."
They play that song a lot, specifically those lines.
Yeah. The one of the other times they play it is when David gets speared.
Yep, I was gonna say. Oh.
Thou shalt.
Oh.
So now I'm like, they played it for both of Michael's sex scenes. even though that wasn't a sex scene, but
Although there was a bright light on David's face when he got pierced, so.
that whole look. What I need is everybody to go back and watch that scene so that I know it's not just me. Like, that facial expression was not appropriate for the moment.
Sir.
Unless, as Chris said, that's just his kink.
Like, I need to know what the director said. I need to know what happened. I'm about to look that scene up right now.
I relate way too much with moms in movies now. I don't know how I feel about that, especially 80s moms. Sex scenes to rock songs is just such a thing for some reason. Well, no, I'm fine. Okay, I am fine with sex scenes to rock songs. Not sex scenes to songs singing about siblings. Especially when there's a child a little brother that may or may not have been in the bed. So I'm just saying it. I know why. It's just that one line that makes it a little weird for me. Also, I would like to say that the vampires were very polite when they came back in for the morning. They just went straight to their cave and left the sleeping sexers be. They didn't disturb them because that bed is out in the wide open for all to see.
It really is.
I think they had to have a different way into that cave.
I mean, I'm sure there's multiple.
Well, because into their crypt part of it, because when the boys are going in there, like they're like going through cobwebs and like having to like break out stuff to get to it. I'm like, if that's the route that they used all the time, there is no way they're getting in. There has to be a way in.
Well, it's a collapsed resort in a fault line that is now a cave in the. So I'm sure there's like several openings.
Yeah, probably.
But that one opening that like they all came through seemed to be the main opening. That's where like they mostly came. So I imagine that they flew through that opening, saw Michael and Star, and were like, "Oh, y'all was boning," and then went to bed.
Also, I'm just rewatching the scene right now, the infamous piercing scene, and he's also rocking back and forth.
Right?
Like he is rocking while he's holding onto the spears. He is, baby.
He is so into that.
And,
well,
like,
Michael just
quivering.
watches.
Yeah, it's.
I'm like, what is going on? I need content.
I need director's notes for that scene.
Yes, I need directors. I need Kiefer Sutherland to tell me about this scene because he's apparently very honest about these scenes.
I need to know. Yeah, because let's go back and look at the scene.
Kiefer Sutherland comes on the channel of this very small YouTuber.
He just pops in on a window.
Just to confirm or deny whether or not that was intended as a sexual scene. That would be wild.
Can you tell me?
I just need to know.
Tweet at Keith Sutherland. Hey, listen, buddy, pal, friend.
I also like that Sam got the vampire hunters assistance because he was like petting their egos. He's like, if you kill all the vampires in Santa Carla, then you'll be heralded as heroes. And they're like,
we're in. It's a good movie.
Oh yeah, like there's a scene where the mom and Max start making out in the kitchen, and Sam's just like, "Hey, mom," and she's like, "Oh yes," and he's like, "Yeah, so I've got friends over," and I'm like, "That's such a kid." He does not miss a beat. He's like, I don't care that I interrupted your make out.
I have friends coming over for dinner, Mom.
Get your shit together, Mom.
I guess you could see the song is relating to David and Star, as I guess she would be his little sister, and the song is about little sister going against her brothers. Oh, okay, I like that. Yes, good. I think throughout the whole movie, you're supposed to get the "thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not lie," and you have to kill to become a vampire. So I think it's really supposed to be attached to that. But growing up in the fandoms I grew up in, I'm extremely sensitive to these things.
Same.
Vampire night drama.
Oh my goodness. We both grew up in the same fandoms.
I just triggered all the 90s weebs.
Luckily, not me. So hey,
lucky you.
I'm basically. I love. Okay, so when Sam figures out that Michael's a vampire and he's freaking out and stuff, and Michael's begging him for help, and he lets him into the window and everything, and he's one of his things he says is, "I'm basically a good kid. Don't kill me."
Or like when he calls his mom and he's like, "Mom, he's gonna kill me." And then she gets home and she's like, "Honey, are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, everything's fine. Why? What's up?"
Sir,
I read a horror comic.
Ben more.
Yeah, it was a horror comic. She's like, "All of that over a horror comic?"
I love that he had, like, when he talks to her, like, over the phone, he's like, "We need to have a face-to-face conversation." Or when she comes back at the end of the movie with Max, and he's like, "We need to have a serious conversation."
I enjoy Sam's character.
Another quote I like is, "Flies and the undead go together like bullets and guns." Oh, that reminds me. So Blake shared one of their notes with me in a Discord, and it was like, "You just know those boys smell." And then they're like, when they're going through the caves to get to the vampires, Sam like sniffs the air and he's like, "What's that smell?" And the other guys are like, "Vampires." So I'm like, we've got confirmation. They
stinky. They don't wash their ass.
I loved that Michael asked him for help. It was they were so good, and they agreed not to tell the mom. And then like
I was fully convinced, like the moment that window's open, Sam's dead. Fully
and
convinced.
like, no, never. Not in Lost Boys. And also at the cliff scene, Michael's like, "I'm really weak right now and I can't protect you." And Sam's like, "It's my turn to protect you." And a little vampire hunter dickwad is all like, I was like, "If I even think you're gonna betray us, I will stab you." And like the look and tone in Sam's voice is, "I'll stab you first." Oh, my brother.
I just enjoy seeing siblings that actually like each other, and you can tell they actually like each other.
Good.
It happens so rarely in any form of media that it's good.
But there's like a happy family, and they like actually like each other, and they're like.
I grasp the concept that like most of us who had a younger sibling can relate to like them annoying you at times, but also like that should not be every sibling relationship in every movie ever.
And like like Sam and Michael do annoy each other at different times in like little ways and stuff. So it's like,
I'm the youngest, so I annoyed the fuck out of my older brother. Also, all of our relationships are not like Sam and Michael's. I will tell you that our relationship is not like that. Ours is like the other one where it's like the older brother just shuns the younger, and
yeah, they're not upset about the divorce either. So at the very least, they never demonize the dad or talk bad about him. The most negative thing that is said is the grandpa teases his daughter about the fact that she's the only woman he knows who gets a divorce and isn't better off for it.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I didn't want she didn't want a divorce battle.
A big, long legal battle.
She just wanted to move on with her life."
Yeah. And that was in the very beginning of the movie.
Hold on. I love that Michael asked him for help. It was... Wait. I don't... Hold on. Let me check the OobTube. Did it... Aha, yes, it censored one of your comments. Hold on. I had to approve it. Sorry. Give me a sec. Yep, might need to be approved. It did. So the comment above that was, "I feel like that furthers the dad was an asshole and left the kids because of Sam coming..." Or proves that he left it because of Sam's coming out. That's possible.
It's not even showing up in StreamYard. It normally does, which is weird. But okay, anything.
Yeah, I approved it in the YouTube though, so I was able to see it.
Okay.
They can see special things. I'm just here vibing.
There's one more scene I know that I want to talk about, but I'm still glancing through the notes to see. Okay, so the boss battle between the head vampire. I like that the kids as like a whole had killed several vampires, and then Max reveals he's a vampire and Michael gets the fuck knocked out of him. The Max is holding everybody off, and then you hear Grandpa's horn, which is like what is the
La
melody?
Cucaracha. La
And then
cucaracha.
he's like coming right through the correct window. Michael wakes up, make sure that he pushes Max into. Grandpa has just casually, or maybe he's
Casually.
been preparing them, a shit ton of logs sharpened at the edge, and he like rams in, hits the brakes, they fly into Max. Max flies into the fireplace, which had been prepared earlier, and then explodes. And he gets out, which my note for this is Grandpa gets out and yeah, tearful reunion. They're happy. Get to my favorite line, please and thank you. Because like everybody's like, oh, we're alive, we're okay, and they're hugging and stuff. And then like Granddad gets out, he goes to the kitchen, goes to get a root beer. Lucy, the mom, is all like, Dad, are you okay? Dad, are you okay? He like chugs the root beer. And he's like, one thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires. And then like he closes the fridge. And as he closes the fridge, it fades out.
Yeah.
And the song When You're Strange starts playing with the credits rolling. And I'm like, that is such a good way to end this movie.
Yeah, that's how the end of this movie is. I fully approve of this. Damn vampires.
I really enjoy the song When You're Strange. When You're Strange.
I'm always
Nobody
strange.
remembers your name when you're strange.
I think that's the song where I was like, I like the soundtrack to this movie.
Right, the soundtrack is so good. I kept a note of songs that played that I remembered or paid attention to. And there is Cry Little Sister, Thou Shalt Not. That's what opens the movie. And then When You're Strange plays as they do this, it's wonderful because Let It Strange plays as they come into town, and it's setting the scene, it's setting the world for you, and it's just so showing the Santa Carla Pier and all of the people as you're watching them travel through it and then get to the granddad's house. And it's such a good song to open with after the or to transition with after Cry Little Sister. And then we get the saxophone guy, which his song is also pretty bop. Like it's more of a background song, but like I enjoyed it. And then Lost Boys plays while they're dirt biking, and Michael has to keep up with the dirt bikers. And then Cry Little Sister plays on and off quite a few times. When they were like the Bonfire Murder Fest, there's Walk This Way by Run DMC and Aerosmith. Yep. I personally offended my husband because I was like, is that Beastie Boys?
Oh, no.
And he's like, I demand an apology. And I'm like, I will only apologize for not recognizing Aerosmith's voice because you're right, I should have. But I do not care about Beastie Boys or Run DMC. So that's where I stand on that. Beastie Boys has one song I like, and that's it.
I'm glad that I like already know enough about 80s culture and or at least the music enough to be like, I know this song, and not be like totally lost.
Soundtrack. Oh, also, When You're Strange, the one in the movie I think is a cover, but it was originally sang by Jimmy Morrison. So that's another Jimmy Morrison reference. Soundtrack was amazing. Whole movie was amazing. I love it. Definitely in my top 5. Yes. Look, there's just certain genres and things I don't, I can barely keep the bands I like straight half the time.
True.
And Good Times by INX was played for the Death by Stereo. It was INXS, whatever.
INXS.
INXS. Whoever, I don't care.
INXS.
I'm dyslexic. Any band that uses letters as their name, that's not a word. They're lucky if I spell the letters right. But anyway, Jess, because in my notes it originally said, I don't know this song. I can't hear it over his screams. Jess is like, it's Good Times by INXS. And that it also played during the beginning boardwalk montage and when Michael buys the leather jacket and runs into Star. So. Stevie's got. Oh, look, that part, yes. Like I said, I really like Aerosmith. I'm a fan of Aerosmith, and I should have recognized him. But also, in my defense, it was a background song, and I was paying attention to what David was saying. so I wasn't paying attention to the music per chance. And when I made my statement that it was Run DMC rapping, Aerosmith had not started singing yet. NXS and Jimmy Barnes, I think they're Australian.
Yes, that was one of the reasons why Kiefer Sutherland agreed to do the movie.
Yes. For anybody who wants it, let me copy paste this link, motherfuckers.
I don't want to.
But
And it just says no.
This is the link to the article that I found on the behind the scenes for the pioneering of a new breed of vampires, if anybody would like to read it. And there is I forgot if it's it's a movie. There's going to be a new movie. The article that I was reading was dated 2021. So I don't know if they're rebooting it. I don't know if it's a sequel. I think it's a reboot. It's set in modern day, but I'm not 100% sure. But we may have to watch that movie and then do a let's talk and either be like, oh yeah, they did it justice, or my God, who greenlit this?
Who signed off on this?
Dare to tarnish our gold?
Yeah, because like as someone who admittedly does not like vampires are not my Jimmy Jams. I'm starting to get into vampires now.
That is awesome.
Are they gonna
do special effects makeup through the school that they did in the thing?
Did they, when they make a sequel, are they going to change the brothers into sisters and have Kiefer Sutherland's daughter play the play of the lead vampire? Because I mean, all his brothers already done it once.
I feel like I would be very interested in seeing a modern remake where the queer subtext is now queer text.
It's just queer.
It's just queer.
It's just out in the open.
Yeah. That's what I would be very interested in seeing.
Same.
Not in these modern times of terrible.
I mean,
sorry,
you're not wrong.
I have consumed so much vampire content.
There are terrible movies that I love, though, so...
For everybody here who's enjoyed this Let's Talk for Lost Boys and likes vampires in general, Jess and I, was it just me and you? Did we have another person?
I think you had like Matt or CB.
On what was it again? I was zoning.
The Vampire Let's Talk.
The Vampire Let's Talk?
It was either Sherry or CB.
It might have been CB. Because I have access to that board, and I'm like, I should look over these notes.
But I don't. Hold on. I'm going to check something real quick. Keep talking, you two.
Vamp.
Okay, they've suddenly forgotten every word in the English language.
Purple hippos. I'm very tired.
You can put comments on the screen to.
I don't have a lot of brain right now.
That's fine.
Emmy wants Kiefer to come back as Max.
Yes.
That would be interesting. I could get behind that. I don't know if he has any sons, but I definitely know that he has a daughter. So I feel like his daughter is also an actress, and she could be in the movie. Just like
I don't know that much about actors or actresses to accurately be like, I'm just.
Just agree with me. I know what I'm talking about.
On Friday nights, me and my friends watch movies, and this it's literally the same thing. They're like, "Oh, this person was in this movie, but they're also in this," and I'm just like, they were.
Here's the thing: Internet Movie Database is a thing, and I like to read through it while I watch movies.
Chris does that with TV tropes.
I don't like say them out loud and tell people and spoil movies for them. And I try to not like watch the spoiler section, especially in like newer movies. Like in this, I don't mind because I kind of know the gist of what's going to happen anyway, because I've heard so much about it over my entire life. But yeah, I like to look through like the facts and stuff during slow parts of movies. Because I'm weird.
I just
I'll forget it all next week.
Yep, that's me.
I just added the for anybody watching this on the replay, I have added the article for the makeup into the description, the video description. What I was going to say though was Jess, I, and CB did a vampire Let's Talk. It was my first Let's Talk with Jess, and the fabled one where she's like, I didn't realize we were doing a dissertation. That was the
There's
first
a
time
lot of notes.
she saw my notes.
There's a lot in there.
There's a lot of notes, and I've even got like some reference sources, so I remembered where I read it from.
Like,
That's more notes than I took my entire college career, and I dropped out of college twice.
Let me tell you, there was so much fact checking Wikipedia for that one too, because like Wikipedia is where I started with my list and resources, but then like some of their vampire things that like some of their non-European vampire things were very sus, and I had to like go fact check all of that.
Also, the miracle chicken.
Yeah, the
Miracle chicken.
Liederic, there's like 3 or 4 different forms of the Liederic, and like Jess and I only ever talked about the miracle chicken now.
Yeah. It's the only
Even
one
then,
that's
I'm
there.
still like, even after I've seen this notes and you guys explained to me so many times, a part of me is like, what the fuck is a miracle chicken? I'm still confused by
The
it.
greatest thing ever. But yes, so the Vampires Let's Talk is about 3 hours of amazing and education and so many vampire things. And I think one of my favorite things to do, which I did in that Let's Talk, is I take things that people think they have a definitive definition on and think that I have a hard stance on, and then I'm like, actually, here's what I think. And yeah,
You've done that to me so many times.
I like to
Subvert expectations.
yes.
It's happened to me so many times, I just expect it now.
I kind of hold they wouldn't regender the characters because I feel like we're losing a lot of good rep for healthy brother relationships, mother-son relationships. I agree. The only like I was on board with it because Jess said that a daughter would be involved from somebody from the original, but there's also no reason that they can't do a brother-sister.
Yeah.
And then you get the best of both worlds. Although it's a modern remake too, so like they could be non-binary.
Yeah.
So
Well, also, I'm saying like for the head vampire to be the daughter, so like maybe the head vampire is the daughter, and the girl that is trying to weasel them away is bi, and she likes both the head vampire girl and the brother.
actors' daughters would be cool bonus.
And then we have just like a poly 3-way. Who knows?
He may, like I said, he may also have sons. I don't know, but I do know that he has a daughter who's an actress. So
It just says, I know not about his other children, just this one.
I know
just
he has
the
a daughter.
one.
That's it.
Just the one.
But yeah, so if they redo the movie, I definitely think that we should watch. We maybe also watch that 2010 remake that they backtracked. They retconned its
Yo.
purpose.
You know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do in the moment.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going right now to my channel, to my community tab, to ask for I should do this at the beginning when I have everybody here, not toward the end when I just have the four remaining dedicated people. But it's
I
fine.
want you to know that none of those 4 are me because I have it closed.
That's good to know.
And none of those 4 are me.
But yes, I'm going to make a post about what movies and stuff people would like to see on a movie Let's Talk. Especially since Jess and I think, have decided we're going to do a movie Let's Talk after every Dubba Dubba weekend as a way to like unwind and just have fun.
And
Take
watch
a break.
movie.
Yes. And then
You're
Cody
gonna have to watch the movie before the Writeathon because otherwise there's not enough time.
I watched it today.
I mean, I did too to solidify.
I also
my notes,
watched
but,
it
like,
today.
for the first time to make notes, like in between work and this, there was no way.
That's fair. This was like my 8,000th viewing.
I did watch it for the first time today. I'm like, I'll make notes. I'll be productive. Oh, come.
Let me tell you, this is the first time that I had so many people enthused about the movie, and 2, that everyone was like, I'm gonna take notes for this Let's Talk. I was like, I should have just started with Let's Talk.
It's so funny. I've been a co-host for how long now, and this is the first time I've come with notes.
I always come with
Especially
notes.
since I'm on the Resident Sailor Moon streams. First time I've come with notes.
As I said, Cody just cheats off my
I do all the time.
I
They're
take
so
such thorough
entertaining.
notes, though. I need somebody to help me read them all.
She takes thorough notes, and also they're so entertaining.
I definitely need some goth vampire biker femmes in my life. Yes. And also, we just need a more gender and other ways of diverse cast too, because like
Yes.
we got to how many fucking characters were there? All right, there was Grandpa, Lucy, the two boys, Max, the Frog Brothers, and then
The motorcycle gang.
yeah, I'm trying to remember how many are in there. They're not one entity. For the
4.
purposes of this,
I want to say there's 4 of them.
is there 4
Technically
counting?
6.
4
There's-
counting David. Hold on, there's 4 counting David, and then Star and Lonnie. So we're at 12. Out of 12 prominent characters, I'm using prominent loosely. Named out of 12 named characters, 2 of them were women. So
And that's still like quadruple the ratio of a Tolkien novel. So
Wow. Damn.
the
Shade.
shade.
I didn't know we were at the library, guys. Holy shit. Y'all got your library cards? Damn.
just saying.
Got real dark in here.
I'm making my Let's Talk movie suggestions post.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I liked it. It makes me want to consume more vampire things because as a noob vampire thing, I also will probably be watching the 3-hour-long Vampire Let's Talk casually.
I am not a new vampire person, but I still have never seen Underworld. Like, it's not something that I've ever watched.
To be
I've
fair,
seen the first
Underworld is like Underworld is weird because it's like everybody more think like people who haven't like seen all of it more think of it as a werewolf movie.
Yeah, I think it's more lycanthrope heavy.
Yeah, well no, that's the thing. That's what people think, but it's like it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Like so yes, hi.
I've
Roxy,
seen it.
hold on. This is very important. Roxy would like everybody to meet Lemon. She hatched this dinosaur over the last 10 days. It was
Aww.
sitting in a pitcher of water that I can now get back to dry off and put all of my spoons back in. And this is Lemon. Lemon is hatched. If I disappear, here you go. Take Lemon back upstairs.
You didn't tell me that Lemon had hatched all the way.
To be fair, I was finishing my watch of Lost Boys, and so she's like, "Can I like get Lemon out?" And I'm like, "Yes, Lemon's fully hatched. Do it over the bathtub." And she did it, and then like this is the first time she's presented Lemon to me today. So
And she's introduced it to everybody. Lemon's first outing.
just let me
I'm
tell
like,
you,
I have been watching Lemon grow.
just as I've been sending her updates. Yeah, well, she like came here and just silently handed me the dinosaur, and I'm like, "What am I supposed to?"
I did see. I just saw a random
She
dinosaur
looked at
show
me
up.
so hopefully. I was like, "Oh, I'm supposed to." Okay.
I did see a random dinosaur show up. I'm like, where did that come from?
We had a psychic connection just then.
Ah.
The OG 3, I didn't like the 4. I haven't seen the 5th. Okay.
I've seen like the first one a long time ago.
Oh, Sam, Aiden wanted me to tell you that he has. Yes, go Aiden, get that bow. He plays Breath of the Wild, and
I knew exactly what that was. I'm like, Breath of the Wild.
all right.
I didn't know what it was, but I knew in the Aiden context what it was.
She had no idea what the ancient bow and shield, but she saw Aiden and knew Zelda.
I saw Ancient Bow. I knew nothing of Aiden. Was like, Zelda.
It's probably the most expensive set of equipment you go out and get in the game. So like,
It is.
I still don't have it on my Switch file. I have it on my Wii U file's dead now because the Wii U died. But
It's
so, like,
dead.
I'm very happy for him and very impressed.
Man.
You do. I want to do like so many Let's Talk Zeldas, but they would never end.
They wouldn't. I was thinking you say no one would do it with me, but then you're like, they'll just never end, so we'll just keep going.
I don't need anybody else on screen to do it. I'll just do it myself.
It's just Sam now posting videos as Let's Talks.
I could probably get Emily on that stream though. But yes, so for everybody who was throwing out movie recommendations, go to the community tab on my channel. I will link my channel right here because, like, I'm all for being lazy and just clicking things.
Yeah, and just posting it
Oh,
here.
and go post the comments there before we all forget. And I'll make a Instagram and Twitter post about doing that too.
Because we will.
So that the people who had to go to bed or leave early did not know. But yes. That was so good. Look, I have so much to say about The Legend of Zelda, especially like I was talking to my tattoo artist, and thankfully he is also a huge Zelda fan. So when I told him that I wanted to add to my bird tattoo on my back, and I'm like, I'm thinking the Virgo symbol and then like vines, because like vines are like very Virgo-y and stuff, but like a style to match my Zelda bird. And I get there, and he had like one design that he had done. Of course, he would have done more if I wanted him or didn't like it, but it was already so perfect. And he's like, yeah, because when I think about Zelda, I think about like fairy tale whimsical vines and plants and stuff like in the forest temple. And I'm like, Tyler, you are my tattoo soulmate. You know me so well. So I can't wait for my next appointment. Yes, it's so good.
It's really good. I have it on my Switch. I've still never beaten it, but like I played some.
I mean, that's fair. It's like the purpose of Breath of the Wild is not to beat it; it's to enjoy it.
I
Part of why I
also
love it.
I just do all the side quests.
Yes, of course. Like
Everything. The moment I'm released into the world, screw the main quest, side quests.
I need to finish getting all 120 shrines so I can go get my wild tunic and stuff.
A part of me is the completionist part of me is like I want to find all the Korax, but there's over 900, and I'm like, nope, I am good.
999.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's a little easier if you get the Korok mask because it like lets you know when one's close.
I'm like, I will get enough to fill my inventory, and I'm stopping.
All right, but we have been going for 2.5 hours. I am in charge of the children bedtime today, and I think we're not talking about Lost Boys anymore.
Nope.
So we should go ahead and wrap up.
All right, cool.
Also, I made a pot of coffee 2.5 hours ago, and I haven't touched it.
I made coffee before stream, and I kept yawning the entire time. So
I don't drink the coffee to keep me awake. We had this discussion.
No, me either. Because
only thing I haven't completed is the Korok and the Master Sword trials.
Because like I will go to bed in like 20 minutes, perfectly fine. Anywho,
sorry, last thing to Emily. I had on my Wii U file, I had completed everything except the Korok. I was working on that. I had something over 500, and then the Wii U died. And I had to start over on the Switch. And I've had less time to game. I'm probably actually going to go play after this Let's Talk, though, because I hadn't been playing because I was like too tired. Everyone with migraines in my city, like I'm in a couple Facebook groups for my city, and somebody posted and they were like, are all migraines, it's like, is it just me or have your migraines been worse this month? And like 12 women were like, no, my migraines have been worse too. It's because of the weather. And I'm like, I feel so seen. I'm not alone. So
I've just been playing Hades a lot with my roommate.
But now we all have our own Switches, and don't nobody touch Mama's Switch.
I still remember this time when Chris just asked for the Switch you gave me. You're like, wait a second. Give it back. Yeah. I remember that. It was such a good time. Anyway, hello, hi, everybody. My name is Cody Keller. I'm a gay creative.
You're not in the hot scene yet, sir.
Oh,
there you go.
That cool. I did not. Hold on. All right. Now I'm in the hot seat. Ha cha cha. Hello, hi, everybody. My name is Cody Keller. I'm a gay creator. I like to make gay shit because straight people had it too good for too long. And the resident Sparkle King. Working on my debut novel where I talk about witches and werewolves and shit. By saying this too fast? Probably. Sure. Why not? Follow me on social medias down below where we go on an adventure.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Yes.
Okie dokie. Goodbye, friends. I have been Jessica Williamson, aka mess, and on my channel I post reading, writing, book, and planner related content sometimes when I feel like it. And I'm sick and hopped up on cold medicine, so it's been a great time. And hi, bye.
And I am Writing Mom Samantha Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer parent things. And we also host live streams similar to this on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Eastern Time, where either we are productive and chit chat and support each other and get along, or we do Let's Talks, where sometimes we get along and sometimes we argue about things. Or we do things like next week, where we're going to be having the quarterly party to celebrate the end of the quarter and all of the things we have accomplished, lament the things we haven't, and try to destroy each other in fun games.
Right, destroy Matt is what I'm hearing. Mm-hmm.
When I will start posting content again, it will be on Thursdays. But, chronic, if y'all are still here by now, you already know about the migraine issues. If you would like to read a sample of my writing, you can go to my website, SamanthaLNasset.com, where you can read my spooky flash fiction, Until Pizza Do Us Part. I'm hoping to get 2 more up there this year. So if you would like to be one of the first to read those 2, sign up to my newsletter, and you'll get to stay up to date with all things Sam and dubba announcements until we get that community tab, which if you go subscribe or pester some friends to subscribe, we're so close, so very close, less than like 30 people. And if you would like to support this channel, you can like this stream, subscribe, and ring-a-ding that bell. And if you would like to tip or donate, you can do so at my Ko-fi down below.
Give Sam money.
And yeah, so thank all your faces for being here. Thanks for the awesome conversation. And for everybody who watches it on the replay, thank you for your dedication and time. And we will see y'all around. Bye.
Bye.